Chapter 480. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Yes, so this time we need to talk about some things on the table. Don't be secretive. Fei Chen Lisin is necessary so that our Tianjin Tower can develop quickly, Lin Yuandao said. This is necessary. When Tianjin Tower recruited members, we said that Tianjin Tower's interests are paramount. Everyone knows this, but Tianjin Tower also has to consider the hearts of its members. Everyone has their own side that they want to protect. In fact, our Tianjin Tower's ancestors thought about this, so there is a rule against fighting for territory. We are afraid that it will disappoint our members, Hua Haining said after Lin Daoyuan's words. Yes, so we must respect the hearts of our members. In addition, if the Eastern Xian region can be built smoothly, many problems can be solved. As for whether the royal city lord can be Lord K's problem, as long as Tianjin Tower's interests are paramount, there is nothing wrong with it. Besides, the personnel assessment is a test, and the specific situation can be dealt with accordingly. Then the drawbacks can be eliminated, Lin Daoyuan said, making a decision. After Lin Daoyuan finished speaking, Latrin Swan and the others stood up and directly expressed their agreement. Good, then I will go to the Eastern Xian region tomorrow. Elderly, you are familiar with Lord Wu Ke, so let's go together. Lin Daoyuan said to Li Jingxian. Let's go, Lin Daoyuan said to Li Jingxian. In addition, everyone should pay more attention to Night Sorrow's matter. Also, don't pull people to your side. I will deal with the arrangements for Night Sorrow. Lin Daoyuan looked at Hua Haining, Guo Xiao and Li Changtian, then instructed. At this point, the Tianjin Tower's high-level meeting was over, and several important decisions were made. At this time, in the Eastern Xian region's Tranquil Heart Cottage, the wind and clouds above the observation tower changed for a long time before calming down. Then Wu Lingfei walked out of the tower. She waved her hand and the bamboo in the courtyard immediately changed. It became more lush and green and its height increased. The evolution of the life attribute is complete. I can proceed to the next step, Wu Lingfei muttered to herself before returning to the observation tower. After Night Sorrow finished eating the food prepared by Ke Xiang, he took Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu to the courtyard to drink tea and watch the moonlight. The moon is always the same, but it looks different. Back then, in Bamboo Garden Village in front of the ancestors' graves, the moon felt very bright and cold. It felt very illusory. Now it doesn't feel as bright as back then, but it feels very real. Night Sorrow said with some emotion. The state of mind. Back then, you were lonely and even a little helpless. After all, things are different now. You have a goal, Yang Lei said. Yes, I was very confused in the past. I wanted to do something, but it felt very distant. Now I feel that everything is hopeful. As long as I work hard, there will be hope. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. The Night Moon dynasty shouldn't be a problem. A dynasty that has accumulated for countless years won't die so easily. Xikong Chuyu knew what Night Sorrow was thinking. Let's solve our problem first. However, it won't conflict. As long as our cultivation improves, all problems will be solved, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow wanted to do a lot of things, but he felt that he had to deal with the matter between himself and Xikong Chuyu first. If he wanted to be together with Xikong Chuyu openly, he had to get the approval of the Xikong family. Night Sorrow weighed the matter in his heart. The past, like the revenge of the Night Moon family and the fact that the Jiyu family owed Old Gu an arm, could not be changed. However, if it didn't happen, he hoped for a happy ending. Yes, so you should calm down. Aren't we together? The truth is the truth. Even if the Xikong family objects, no one can change the truth, Xikong Chuyu said. The future is still very beautiful. Let's rest. Chuyu, do you want to join us? Yang Lei said with a smile. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, no, it's too embarrassing, Xikong Chuyu said with a red face. But it's too tiring to be alone. Just treat it as keeping me company. Yang Lei held Xikong Chuyu's hand and walked towards the main building. Night Sorrow didn't know what to do as he watched Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu leave. If he followed them, he would be embarrassed. If he didn't, he would embarrass Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu. The woman had already let go. Why wouldn't he go? While Night Sorrow was still hesitating, Yang Lei turned around and said, Why are you still standing there? Let's go. Night Sorrow nodded and followed. Suddenly his state of mind changed. There was no need to be conflicted. He just had to follow his heart. After entering the room, Xikong Chuyu suddenly turned the tables. He pushed Yang Lei onto the bed and began to take off Yang Lei's skirt. He even pulled Night Sorrow. Yang Lei resisted for a while, but then she admitted defeat. The meaning of resisting was the same. It was just a matter of who did it first. Besides, she felt that she was Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu's elder sister. There were some things that she should take on first. Then Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow take off his robe. Then he turned around. Looking at Yang Lei's delicate body, Night Sorrow couldn't care less and pounced on her. Because Yang Lei was already aroused, it wasn't difficult for the two of them to be together. The battle began. Although Night Sorrow and Yang Lei restrained themselves, they were still very loud. This made Sikong Chuyu feel embarrassed. Even his neck was red and his legs were crossed. Yang Lei made Night Sorrow stop. She hugged Night Sorrow's neck and said something. Then she sat up and pulled Sikong Chuyu onto the bed. They lingered for a long time. Yang Lei, who was lying side by side with Sikong Chuyu and covered with a blanket, asked in confusion, 13, this isn't right. You weren't this strong before. Why can't the two of us do it? I know. He felt sorry for us and felt that we were tired, so he stopped, Sikong Chuyu said in a low voice. Yang Lei thought for a while and nodded. She understood the reason. Then the three of them rested together. Night Sorrow hugged the two girls and said gratefully, thank you. We are a family. Chuyu is the younger sister. So, senior sister doesn't need to be embarrassed. Anyway, we didn't embarrass ourselves outside, right? Yang Lei said in a low voice. Yes, I don't mind either. Sikong Chuyu nodded. After hearing the two girls' words, Night Sorrow suddenly felt that he had nothing to say. He could feel the love from the two girls. Looking at the silent Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu said, Night Sorrow, didn't you treat us with sincerity? That's why we love you so much. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. Yang Lei said, love is mutual. If you can do anything for us, we can do the same. Let's rest. Tomorrow we will go to the Shantian Tower to take a look. Night Sorrow nodded. Chuyu, didn't you say that the Shantian Tower can improve the power of the soul? We should go through a few more levels and earn more. Sikong Chuyu said, but the price of the Shantian Tower is quite high. Chapter 481. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Ninth senior sister, you really dare to dream. That's the #1 spirit treasure in the Qingtian region. Who doesn't want to move home? But who can do it? If they could, they would have moved home long ago. Why would they wait for me? Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that this was Yang Lei. She had a straightforward personality and said what she thought. She never hid anything. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Ninth senior sister understands this, but there are some things that you can't think of. For example, there are many people who like Chuyu. They all want to hug the beauty. If you don't want to do it, why would Chuyu lie beside you? Isn't ninth senior sister the same? Who can say for sure about fate? Perhaps the Shantian Tower is fated to be with you, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow, ninth senior sister's words are a bit extreme, but they still make sense. If you don't dare to think about it, there is no possibility of success. Think about it and then do it. As for the result, don't think about it first. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Although she felt that there was no hope, she felt that Yang Lei's words were reasonable. Okay, then let's rest first. Night Sorrow nodded. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu believed in something. Even if it was wrong, he wouldn't refute it. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow and the others were eating breakfast when Guoxiao came with Lan Yuxuan behind him. Greetings, Lord Chief Supervisor. Night Sorrow got up and bowed. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu also bowed slightly. Guoxiao looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and then said to Night Sorrow, you're welcome. Although I know them, it's only on paper. You have to introduce them to me. Night Sorrow introduced Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu to Guoxiao and introduced Guoxiao's identity. Sikong Chuyu, the only daughter of the Sikong clan's third young master, Sikong Tianding. I know of her extraordinary talent. Yang Lei. Medicine Valley's earth-shaking hand, Yu Yangyu's ninth disciple. This is also our Tianji Tower's misjudgment, but fortunately the results are good. I'm in charge of both the inspection department and the supervision department. A Tier 4 expert can serve as an inspector, while a Tier 5 expert can serve as an inspector. However, an inspector is very busy, and I don't think you have much time. Why don't you join the supervision department? Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Will follow the chief supervisor's decision. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu both bowed. A Tier 5 supervisor's cultivation is a bit low, and there aren't any missions at the moment. You just have to cultivate diligently. Supervisor Lan, bring them to exchange their tokens later. Guoxiao said to Lan Yuxuan. This subordinate understands. Lan Yuxuan nodded. Night Sorrow, Qingji Tower's development objective is to put people first, and it's also a place that values relationships and morals. You don't have to feel any pressure or burden. In your heart, the interests of Eastern Shen region are very important. We understand this, so we'll make the appropriate arrangements. Guo looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Many thanks for Lord Chief Supervisor's understanding. Night Sorrow is really grateful." After listening to Guo words, Night Sorrow felt a lot more at ease in his heart. When you feel at ease, your heart will be at peace. In addition, if there's a problem between you and her that needs to be resolved, then let this lord know. This lord is still very willing to make a decision for the young people of Qingji Tower and contribute to your future. Guo looked at Sikong Chuyu and said. Night Sorrow and the other two bowed again to express their gratitude. What Guo said was exactly what Night Sorrow was worried about. After that, Guo left Lan Yuxuan behind and left. Chief Supervisor rarely comes out. It can be seen that you value Lord very much. Lan Yuxuan said. Supervisor Lan, you don't have to be so polite. I already said yesterday that you can just call me by my name. Night Sorrow said. Lan Yuxuan nodded with a smile. She also hoped to get along with Night Sorrow more harmoniously. If she called him Lord, their relationship would indeed become more distant. After that, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu followed Lan Yuxuan to deal with the issue of their identities. Night Sorrow did not follow them. Instead, he stayed in the mansion to cultivate. The two women only returned at noon. Did it go smoothly? Night Sorrow, who kept his reincarnation spear, asked. It went very smoothly. We treated Sister Lan, who is also Supervisor Lan, to a meal. We will be under her command in the future. However, she asked us to call her Sister Lan. Sikong Chuyu said. It will be more convenient for us to be under her command. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said. Actually, it's just a title. The lowest cultivation base of a supervisor is the late void inquiry stage. We are not qualified yet. Yang Lei said. That's not bad. With a position we will be more free. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. Yang Lei shook her head. The two of us are just borrowing your glory. It's a little late today. I guess the two of you are tired. We won't go to the Shintian Tower. Let's go tomorrow. Night Sorrow changed the topic of Yang Lei. Jiu, did you see that? 13 is changing the topic. He is afraid that we will be embarrassed. However, it's not embarrassing to borrow the glory of our man. We are also willing to do so. Yang Lei said with a smile. Yes. Night Sorrow is also much more tactful now. Sikong Chuyu nodded. After that, the two women practiced their combat techniques. Night Sorrow began to concoct pills. He had obtained a lot of materials in the Death Space and also exchanged for some materials in the East Garden City. He planned to concoct all of them into pills. He concocted pills until the sky turned dark. Only then did Night Sorrow stop to have supper with the two women. KV Most. New C Chapter Top. Chuyu, how far is this place from the Grand Clarity Domain? Night Sorrow asked. It's not far. The Grand Clarity Domain is connected to the Qingtian Domain to the north, the Nanli Domain to the south, the Taiwa Domain to the east, and the Three Origin Domain to the west. Sikong Chuyu was very familiar with the geography of the 9 domains. Then Sikong Chuyu explained the geography of the 9 domains to Night Sorrow. The Qingtian Domain was in the middle. The Taiwa Domain and the Eastern Profound Domain were in the east. The Grand Clarity Domain and the Nanli Domain were in the south. The Three Origin Domain and the Western Nether Domain were in the west. The Unbounded Desolation and the Northern Sea region were in the north. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment. That means the northeast corner of the Grand Clarity Domain and the southwest corner of the Eastern Profound Domain are very close? Yes, this is certain. What do you mean? I understand. Sikong Chuyu understood why Night Sorrow asked this question. If you have time, make a detailed map. Otherwise, I'll be an idiot, Night Sorrow said. When we go to the Shintian Tower, let's take a look at the trade street. There's nothing you can't buy on the trade street. Of course, you have to have hard currency, Sikong Chuyu said. That's not a problem. Does our 13 lack spirit stones? Yang Lei said with a smile. Night Sorrow took out the spirit item catalog that Feng Chen had left behind and looked at it with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. I'm more interested in the trade street. We had good luck in East Park City, so I hope we can keep it in Qingtian City. Come, let's look at the spirit item catalog. This way we can recognize the good stuff and don't be blind. Chapter 482. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go Xiao? It provides you with interesting novels to read. The things recorded in this handbook are very complete. Many of them are rare. After memorizing them, you won't miss anything in the future. Sikong Chiyu opened her mouth and said. That's right, Sikong Chiyu said. So let's take a look. We can't do things like being blind. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Picking up scraps is also an opportunity. For example, we met that guy who had the Void Dao Stone. He got the opportunity but couldn't grasp it and it slipped away. If he didn't have enough luck, he wouldn't be able to enjoy some rare natural treasures. Sikong Chiyu said. After the three of them were almost done studying the handbook, they made tea and went back to their rooms to cultivate. During this period of time they had been rushing on their journey. However, Night Sorrow did not neglect his cultivation. Currently, his true chi cultivation had already reached the late void inquiry stage. After working hard for a while, he would be able to reach the peak of the void inquiry stage. His cultivation of the myriad Dao text had also improved very quickly. He was also very close to the peak of the first level Dao seeking realm. After sensing his own cultivation base, Night Sorrow felt that his innate talent in cultivation might indeed be quite good because Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu were still at the mid-void inquiry stage. Everyone's cultivation time and resources were about the same. Such a gap could only be explained by innate talent. Moreover, Night Sorrow cultivated the myriad Dao text, the power of his bloodline and the power of his soul at the same time. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow washed up and woke up early to practice his spear techniques. After the two ladies came out and had breakfast, the three of them went out to the streets. After leaving the residential area of the Chenji Tower, the three of them took off their masks in a corner where there was no one around. Sikong Chiyu put on her veil. The three of them sat on Night Sorrow's Chanyu and flew towards the Shintian Tower. The core area of Sky-Bearing City was near the Shintian Tower. The City Lord's mansion was there. The Chenji Tower's branch in Sky-Bearing region was also in that area. That area was also the place with the most shops as well as a trading street. Sky-Bearing City is the royal city of the Sky-Bearing region. All the sects with some strength have strongholds and shops here. The Jiyu family has a large sphere of influence in Sky-Bearing City, and so does the Sikong family. So be careful. If there are any problems, block them for me, Sikong Chiyu said. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei nodded. If Sikong Chiyu met someone he knew, he would need someone to stop him. When they arrived near the Shintian Tower, the three got off their mounts. Night Sorrow put away the Chanyu, and then under the guidance of the two women, they began to go shopping. Shopping was a woman's nature. She was interested in everything she saw, and Night Sorrow was her companion. Night Sorrow was not interested in the shops on the street. The shops were all very formatted and the items were almost the same. They were all goods that everyone needed. Night Sorrow was not interested in the things that everyone needed. He liked the way street stalls traded. It felt casual and he could bargain as much as he wanted. There were also all kinds of goods. After walking through a long trading street, the three entered a plaza. This was the trading area, a more casual one. Night Sorrow did not call out Sikong Chiyu's name. He only said one word, "Feather, why don't you enter some of the shops?" Sikong Chiyu smiled and said, "There are signs on the signs. Those are the businesses of the two I mentioned. I don't want to cause trouble, so I won't go in. There are so many shops on the trading street anyway." After entering the trading area, the three began to stare at the stalls. First, Night Sorrow bought a huge map of the 9-domain world. Because it was very detailed, Night Sorrow spent 3 high-grade spirit stones. However, Night Sorrow felt that the spirit stones were worth it. The map was very detailed. The ancient sect ruins, the current sect location, and the Medicine Valley were all carved on it. Night Sorrow felt that this map could be used for a long time. 3 high-grade spirit stones were nothing. Then the three continued to stroll. As long as there were rare herbs and ores, Night Sorrow would use elixirs to barter or spirit stones to buy them. Night Sorrow wanted to study alchemy techniques, and alchemy materials were indispensable. Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu followed behind him. Night Sorrow also saw Lan Yuxuan. Lan Yuxuan was wearing a mask and was quite a distance away from the two of them. Night Sorrow and the others didn't greet Lan Yuxuan because she was wearing a mask. They also knew that Lan Yuxuan's purpose was to protect the three of them. Then Night Sorrow stopped. A vendor's shouting attracted Night Sorrow's attention. This was a rather sloppy old peddler. Looking at his lethargic appearance, Yi Shang knew that he didn't have much lifespan left. However, what made Yi Shang feel strange was that everyone else ignored this peddler. The old man was peddling a piece of crystal. "Brother, don't mind him. He's just an old swindler. His lifespan is nearing its end, causing his heart to collapse. He said that the crystal is a water attribute crystal king. It's just a big crystal. Is there a need to act like that? A man walked past Night Sorrow and reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded to the man to express his gratitude. However, he didn't leave. He had just used his soul force to scan the so-called water attribute crystal king. In addition to the water attribute, he also found an energy that could resist the probing of soul force. Night Sorrow once again probed with his soul force and found the power of law. This meant that it wasn't a crystal stone. No matter what it was, as long as it contained the power of law, it was a good thing. Update T new our fastest up X. How much are you selling it? Night Sorrow asked. Spirit liquid, I only want spirit liquid, spirit spring spirit liquid. The old man said excitedly. He didn't have much lifespan left, so if he wanted to prolong his life, spirit spring spirit liquid was the best thing. Of course, spirit spring spirit liquid was of a higher grade than spirit spring spirit liquid, but it wasn't known by others. How many drops? Night Sorrow asked. Night Sorrow was the first to go to the void domain. Tianji Tower had given him a bottle of spirit spring spirit liquid, but he had already used it up. Some time ago, when he was fighting against the dark creatures in Broken Cloud Mountain, Leihua had given him another bottle. 30 drops, no 40 drops. The old man looked at Night Sorrow with excitement. Then keep it for yourself. Night Sorrow coldly snorted. First of all, not to mention the value of this crystal stone, when the old man heard that Night Sorrow had spirit spring spirit liquid, he directly raised the price. This made Night Sorrow very disgusted. Not to mention that he was a cultivator, even if he was a businessman, he couldn't be so shameless. Then 30 drops. The old man quickly changed his words. 15 drops. One more drop, you can keep it company with you. Night Sorrow glanced at the old man and fiercely raised the price. His words were also somewhat sharp. In the past, Night Sorrow's character wasn't like this, but the old man's treacherous style had aroused his disgust. All right, I'll sell it. The old man's facial muscles twitched as he made a decision. No matter how valuable this crystal stone was, it wasn't as important as his life. The spirit spring spirit liquid was something he could use to prolong his life. Night Sorrow took out the spirit spring spirit liquid and poured 15 drops into an empty bottle under the old man's nervous eyes. He then handed it to the old man and kept the crystal stone that didn't look very valuable. Holding it in his hand, Night Sorrow knew that he had made a profit again. This was an incomplete water-attributed Saint Crystal. Of course, Saint Crystals didn't contain much energy. Most of it was rule force, so ordinary people wouldn't be able to discover it. Chapter 483. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Sorry? I'm not selling it. Night Sorrow put the broken Saint Crystal into his storage ring. What a joke. It was fine if he didn't recognize it, but how could Night Sorrow sell it when he recognized it as a Saint Crystal, even if it was broken? The Sikong Chuyu was of the water attribute, so the more the better. The source stone contained the law of the water attribute, but it wasn't comprehensive. If he supplemented it with a Saint Crystal, the possibility of the Sikong Chuyu entering the Saint realm in the future would be greater. I'll pay double. The old man in a green robe said. I won't sell it even if it's several times the price. Sorry. Night Sorrow refused again and got up to leave. He knew that the old man was very strong. He couldn't see his cultivation, so he might be a venerable. If one's soul power wasn't strong enough, or if one didn't have enough knowledge, they wouldn't be able to recognize the Saint Crystal. I'll take it. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't give him any face, the old man blocked Night Sorrow's way. At the same time he was a little angry. How can you buy it by force? What's the difference between this and robbery? Can you rob everyone here just because you want it? Night Sorrow looked at the old man in green robe and said, So what? I'm asking you to take out the crystal now, or you'll have to bear the consequences. The old man narrowed his eyes and looked at Night Sorrow. There are robberies every year, but I've never seen one on the street. Lan Yuxuan walked over. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, Sir from Tianji Tower, you don't have to get involved in this mess, do you? I have a reward for you. The old man in green robe looked at Lan Yuxuan and said, I don't need your reward. I can't stand this. You'd better leave before something bad happens. Lan Yuxuan's eyes flashed under the mask. If the man in green robe still didn't know when to stop, she would make a move. Leave your name. The green-robed elder looked at Lan Yuxuan and then turned to look at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who are you? Night Sorrow didn't have the habit of hiding his identity. Jiyu Yuandang, you better remember this. Jiyu and Yuandang glanced at Night Sorrow, then stood up and left. He was very angry, but Lan Yuxuan's existence made him helpless. Night Sorrow glanced at Yuandang's back, then nodded to Lan Yuxuan and prepared to leave with the two girls. I won't sell the crystal stones. Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to leave, the old man who had bought the spring water was a bit reluctant. He knew that he might have made a loss, otherwise Jiyu and Yuandang wouldn't have paid so much. I'm not selling. Do you think I'll stop selling just because you say so? I don't want to stir up trouble. If you want to act shamelessly, I don't mind sending you away before your lifespan ends. Night Sorrow looked at the old man with killing intent in his eyes. This old man had no principles and no bottom line. You still want to kill? Guards, this is a robbery. The old man jumped and said. Can we fight and kill here? Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chiyu and asked. Yes. Sikong Chiyu nodded. Then why am I still talking nonsense with him? Night Sorrow raised his right hand and pulled out the reincarnation spear from his shoulder. He directly threw out the 7-star glorious moon spear. The spear body carried a strong vibration force. Buzz. The vibration force on the reincarnation spear shook violently, shaking away the long sword that the old man hurriedly pulled out. Then the spear directly penetrated the old man's forehead. When he withdrew the spear, Night Sorrow shook his wrist and took back the bottle of spirit stone water in the old man's hand. Night Sorrow put the reincarnation spear on his back and threw 2 mid-grade spirit stones at the old man's corpse. Who has the time to collect the corpse? Love, Gong Little say, W. Chu. However, Yang Lei was very greedy and took off the old man's storage ring. Night Sorrow and the others continued forward. As for the corpse, someone would take care of it. It wouldn't lie there forever. Spirit stones were still very powerful. Then Night Sorrow continued his treasure hunt. If there were pills and materials, he would exchange them. In any case, he didn't lack pills. Night Sorrow could still make a profit by exchanging pills for materials. That guy has always been there. He hasn't given up and has been following us. Yang Lei said. I know that thing is very precious. He also discovered the secret. Qingtian City isn't easy to survive in. That guy might be a venerable one. Night Sorrow said. Supervisor Lan has always been behind us. He shouldn't dare to do anything. Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow nodded, but he didn't like this feeling because he couldn't control it. His fate was in the hands of others. The feeling of powerlessness was too strong. They didn't continue shopping. Night Sorrow and the others went directly to the Shintian Tower. When I have time, I'll set up a stall in exchange for good things. Night Sorrow said as he walked. Indeed, the demand for elixirs is the greatest. The things we exchange for are elixirs first and spirit stones later. In addition, there aren't many stalls that sell elixirs. The ones that do sell elixirs have very high prices. Yang Lei nodded. She felt that Yi Shang's method was feasible. If you have a skill, you won't starve to death. This old saying is true. Sikong Chiyu nodded. Then the 3 of them arrived in front of the Shintian Tower. There was a clean circle around the Shintian Tower. No one set up a stall here. The outer circle was the trading area. It was a prosperous area. However, the Shintian Tower was a holy land. No one was allowed to casually approach or profane it. There were city guards of Qingtian City guarding it. If anyone dared to mess around, they would be killed. Night Sorrow brought the 2 girls to the front gate of the Shintian Tower. There were people guarding it. Night Sorrow told the old guard why they had come, which was to challenge the tower. The old guard looked at Night Sorrow's group and said, First hand over your spirit stones. Below the 40th floor, 1 mid-grade spirit stone per floor. From the 40th to the 50th floor, 1 high-grade spirit stone per floor. From the 50th floor to the 60th floor, 10 high-grade spirit stones per floor. Above the 60th floor, 1 extreme-grade spirit stone per floor. Every floor will double the price. After Night Sorrow paid the price for the 50th floor and below, he asked, For the 3 of us, here are 120 mid-grade spirit stones for the 40th floor and below. These are 30 high-grade spirit stones for the 50th floor. As for after the 50th floor, we don't know how many floors we can reach. What do you say? In order to avoid unnecessary trouble and embarrassment, you have to pay in advance. Remember not to exceed the floor you paid in advance. Otherwise, it will be very unpleasant if you can't make up for it when you come out. Also, after you enter, you will be automatically teleported out in 3 days, the old man said. All right. If I don't use it, can I return the money I paid in advance? Night Sorrow asked. He didn't want to be swindled by others. From the actions of Jiyu's family members and that peddler, he knew that the Qingtian city was very chaotic. Yes, there is no problem. No one dares to look down on the city lord Manor's reputation, the old man said. Night Sorrow directly took out 150 high-grade spirit stones. Pay in advance first. I'll calculate the amount when I come out. The old man nodded at Night Sorrow and took out 3 jade tablets. He handed them to Night Sorrow's group. The Xiantian Tower's monitoring system was similar to the Thunder Tower. Chapter 484. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Lan Yuxuan had a comprehensive understanding of Night Sorrow's situation. She knew that Night Sorrow and Jiyu's family had a grudge against each other. In addition, she also knew that some members of Jiyu's family wanted to kill Night Sorrow. Coupled with Jiyu's family's overbearing style, Lan Yuxuan didn't dare to let down her guard. In Tianji Tower, the treatment of members and the rules they had to abide by were different. For those who were recruited from the periphery, if they were trained beyond their limits, the requirements would be stricter. Of course, if they got something, they would have to pay a price. The reason was very simple. If they didn't create corresponding value and wanted to be trained further, they had to work harder. Many supervisors and guardians were like this. In order to get resources that they weren't qualified to use, they had to give up some freedom. Lan Yuxuan was the same. As a venerable, she needed a lot of cultivation resources. In order to get resources, she had to work hard. At present, the task that Tianji Tower had arranged for Lan Yuxuan was to be Night Sorrow's personal subordinate. She had to protect Night Sorrow and communicate with him. Night Sorrow and the other 2 took the jade tokens and started to challenge the tower. After Night Sorrow and the other 2 entered the tower, Jiyu came to the old man in the cyan robe. Cousin, these 3 people have started to challenge the tower? Yes, Yuandang is here. Why do you look so pale? The old man in the cyan robe asked. His name was Jiyu Yuanhang and he was a member of Jiyu's family. I missed a big opportunity. It was ruined by Tianji Tower's people. The thing is in that boy's hands. Jiyu Yuandang snorted coldly. These 3 young people are not simple. They are rich and took out a lot of spirit stones. They paid 150 high-grade spirit stones in advance. They should be from a big family, Jiyu Yuanhang said. 150 high-grade spirit stones in advance? What kind of method is this? Jiyu Yuandang was a little confused. 150 high-grade spirit stones was not a small number. He only had this much wealth and he had accumulated it for countless years. What kind of opportunity is it? Why do you value it so much? Asked Jiyu Yuanhang. If cousin is not mistaken, it should be St. Crystals. I offered him 3 times the price but he refused to sell, so I should be right. Jiyu and Yuandang hesitated for a moment before saying, don't do anything for now. There are powerful warriors from Tianji Tower over there, which means these 3 people are not simple. Let's investigate them first. Jiyu Yuanhang glanced at Lan Yuxuan and said, it's as disgusting as eating flies. Love Gone Little Sake Jiyu and Yuandang were very angry. Don't be rash. Being followed by a venerable cultivator is definitely not an ordinary cultivator. If things get out of hand, it won't end well. Jiyu Yuanhang reminded Jiyu. After Night Sorrow entered the Xiantian Tower, he was on guard but no attack appeared. In front of him was a staircase that extended diagonally. Could it be the same as Danding Cliff? Pressure assessment? Night Sorrow thought for a moment and made a judgment. Holding the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow stepped on the staircase and walked up. There was pressure, but this pressure was negligible to Night Sorrow. There were about 50 steps on the staircase, and at the end of the staircase was an oval-shaped energy door. After walking to the end, Night Sorrow directly stepped into it. Night Sorrow walked up step by step. This place might be pressuring for cultivators in the Qi refinement realm, but for Night Sorrow, it was no different from an ordinary environment. The 10th floor was more comfortable and it was a small space with richer energy. Night Sorrow did not stop because it was meaningless. If he cultivated here and relied on this level of spiritual energy to advance, he would have to cultivate for dozens of years. Standing on the stairs of the 11th floor, Night Sorrow felt for a moment and found that the pressure was indeed targeted at cultivators in the Qi-gathering realm. The pressure only existed on the stairs. If one did not go up the stairs, they would not feel the pressure. Putting away the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow continued to move forward. The low-level assessment was meaningless to Night Sorrow, and the rewards were meaningless as well. The spiritual stones that he handed over were actually the toll. As he continued to move forward, Night Sorrow reached the 40th floor. The energy on the 40th floor was already relatively rich, but Night Sorrow did not stop. The levels below the 50th floor were meaningless to him. He was aiming to improve his soul, and he would only have the opportunity to improve his soul after reaching the 50th floor. Night Sorrow continued to move forward. He did not know about Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu's situation. In this kind of assessment of perseverance, true chi and physical strength, the two girls were definitely not as good as him. However, he felt that they were still stronger than the others. Since Yang Lei could cultivate the heaven-covering hand, her physical strength was much stronger than ordinary cultivators. In the Medicine Valley, other than Night Sorrow, she was the second person who cultivated the heaven-covering hand. As for Sikong Chiu, she used to be delicate. Now she also looked slim and weak. However, her body had been transformed by the sky-blue water attribute. Her physical quality was also incomparable to other cultivators. Resisting the pressure, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao tome had a great advantage. Very soon he rushed to the 50th floor. Without any hesitation, Night Sorrow continued to move forward. Every floor corresponded to a corresponding level. The 50th floor corresponded to the early void inquiry stage. However, Night Sorrow felt that the corresponding level was not accurate. There was at least a suppression of 2 levels. In other words, one would need to be at least second void inquiry stage to reach the 50th floor. After taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow went up the stairs and walked towards the oval-shaped energy on the 51st floor. When Night Sorrow went up the stairs, the pressure hit him in the face. The pressure was already very strong, but he still did not care. He protected his body with true chi and walked up. After entering the 52nd floor, Night Sorrow pondered for a while. Without resting, he continued to move forward. The Shantian Tower still gave the challengers a chance to take a breather. When they just entered the next floor, they could meditate to recover. As long as they did not go up the stairs, there would be no pressure. Feeling that he did not consume much of his energy, Night Sorrow got up and continued to move forward. When he reached the 53rd floor, Night Sorrow meditated beside the stairs to recover. He had not stopped moving forward. Night Sorrow's energy consumption was quite large. Other than that, he did feel that his soul power had been improved. It started from the 51st floor. Among the energy rushing forward, there was a milky white silk-like energy rushing towards his spirit sea. After the milky white energy entered his spirit sea, it began to strengthen Night Sorrow's soul power. This kind of milky white silk-like energy was different from the energy extracted from the soul crystals. Night Sorrow felt that his soul power did not improve. It was just the quality of his soul that had changed. Look at section JK_1 of chapter D+ of the original version. For this made Night Sorrow realize that the rumored energy that could change one's soul power was still very powerful. As he continued forward, Night Sorrow slowly sensed the deity sea situation and adjusted his speed. Night Sorrow wasn't worried that he would miss out on anything. If he failed in the Thunder Tower, he would have lost the opportunity to return and continue cultivating. However, this place was different. This was a stair mode. If he couldn't withstand it, he could retreat. Night Sorrow planned to break through to his limit and then cultivate at his limit. This was something he could control. Although the pressure of moving forward was great, Night Sorrow was able to reach the 56th step by relying on his own strength and the assistance of his primary energy. However, he was unable to hold on any longer. Chapter 485. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with interesting novels to read. After reaching the 56th floor, Night Sorrow stopped and stood in front of the stairs leading to the 57th floor. Night Sorrow began to ponder. Love Go divided by Xiao www.achux. Currently, Night Sorrow had to endure double pressure, which was the impact of ordinary energy and the impact of soul power. Only when his body and spirit sea could withstand it could he continue moving forward. After sorting out his thoughts, Night Sorrow went up the stairs and continued moving forward. At this moment, not only did he circulate his true chi, the myriad Dao treasure tome was also activated. At the same time, the soul power in his spirit sea was also circulating at full speed, refining the energy that entered his spirit sea. He refined as much as he could. The energy in the Shantian Tower was slowly pressing into his spirit sea. Night Sorrow's incorporeal heavenly fate bead did not block it. When the incorporeal heavenly fate bead protects its owner, the owner would have to face a violent impact, which was a conscious soul power attack. However, the energy here did not have such characteristics. Night Sorrow moved forward step by step. The energy pressed down on him like waves, but it still could not stop him from moving forward. Zoo forever. Oh, read novels for free at this moment. Jiyu Yuanhang, who was in charge of guarding the Shintian Tower, had a solemn expression. Avoid inquiry stage cultivator reaching the 56th floor. Brother Yuandang, this person is definitely not simple. If you know his name, go investigate and report it to the clan. Remember, don't act recklessly. Cousin Yuanhang, if they come out, send someone to follow them. Don't let them escape. That thing is very important to me. Jiyu Yuanhang said. All right. Go ahead. Jiyu Yuanhang nodded. He knew that this matter was not simple. It was already very difficult to maintain the same number of floors in the Shintian Tower. It was almost impossible to skip levels. However, Night Sorrow had already skipped 2 levels and was already on par with the record. He could not ignore it even if he wanted to. Jiyu Yuanhang was a member of the City Lord Mansion. However, he would always report valuable information and benefits to the Jiyu clan first. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. The current City Lord of Sky-bearing City was Jiyu Fenglan of the Jiyu family, but Jiyu Fenglan had not shown himself for many years. Jiyu family was indeed powerful in the City Leader Mansion, but it was not powerful enough to cover the sky with one hand. Therefore, the City Leader Mansion and Jiyu family were still 2 different things. Lan Yuxuan was still waiting for Night Sorrow and the other 2. She knew that Jiyu family had made some moves, but she wasn't afraid. Lan Yuxuan wasn't afraid of the 2 Jiyu family members. Tianji Tower wasn't afraid of Jiyu's family. If there was a battle, she could send out a signal and Tianji Tower's people would arrive. Night Sorrow continued to move forward. Beads of sweat dripped down from his face. When it came to ordinary energy attacks, Night Sorrow had the myriad Tao Tome and Jin Qi to resist them. However, the pressure from soul energy was too great. Night Sorrow had reached the 57th floor, but he had also reached his limit. The Shintian Tower's soul attack was truly tyrannical, but as long as one could withstand it, their soul power would improve greatly. When he reached the 57th floor, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began to recover. He didn't need to use any resources to recover here. The energy here was very rich, almost the same as 7,000 meters above Danding Cliff. After meditating for an hour, Night Sorrow had recovered to his peak. He sensed his soul power and found that the quality of his soul power had improved greatly. The milky white soul power emitted a soft and perfect luster. Night Sorrow felt that the spirit stones were well spent. The improvement of the quality of his soul power was priceless. In addition, this place was also a holy land for cultivation. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow stood up. A rich cultivation environment was hard to come by for others, but it was nothing for Night Sorrow. With the help of the spiritual liquid and elixirs, Night Sorrow's cultivation speed had been maintained at a high speed. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't care about the rich cultivation environment. However, the improvement of the quality of his soul power was important. It was the foundation, so he had to make a breakthrough. Night Sorrow stood up and stepped onto the stairs. He began to endure the energy pouring into his body and cultivate. After taking a few steps, Night Sorrow discovered that his soul power was no longer accepting the changes of the Shintian Tower's soul energy. In other words, his soul power had reached perfection. Discovering this, Night Sorrow controlled his soul power to quickly revolve and refine the energy entering his divine sea. He began to improve his soul power. The appearance of this situation increased Night Sorrow's ability to resist pressure. After an hour, Night Sorrow reached the 58th floor. However, his body was soaked in sweat and he had used up all of his energy. Night Sorrow knew that it would be very difficult for him to reach the 59th floor, but he didn't plan on giving up. He would charge as far as he could, and when he reached his limit, he would cultivate. After cultivating for an hour on the 58th floor and recovering to his peak state, Night Sorrow got up and went up the stairs. He didn't know that at this time, a shadow had appeared in the space and was observing him. Night Sorrow had to bear a lot of pressure with every step he took. However, he could still persevere. He knew that perseverance meant gains. When he was 10 steps away from the 59th floor, the pressure suddenly surged. He had to reach the 59th floor. With a low roar, Night Sorrow used his bloodline talent and used space crack. He wanted to cut open the turbulent flow of energy and reduce the impact of the pressure. Following the hissing sound, Yishang's spatial rend tore open a crack in the pressure energy. Then Yishang used a second spatial rend. After using the spatial rend, he stepped onto the 59th floor. After entering the 59th floor, Night Sorrow directly fell to the ground. His true chi and the myriad Tao Tome's energy were completely exhausted. Even standing was difficult. After gasping for a while, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began cultivating. At this time, in front of the Shentian Tower, Jiu Yuanhang, who was in charge of guarding the tower, had a gloomy look on his face. Night Sorrow had already broken the tower's record. Before, the record was 2 levels higher than himself, but when Night Sorrow entered the 59th floor, Night Sorrow's record was 5 levels higher than himself. This record was destined to shock everyone. Jiu Yuanhang felt that if he couldn't bring someone like Night Sorrow under his control, he would be a great threat. At this time, Jiu Yuandang had also returned. Night Sorrow had spent 6 to 8 hours in the tower, and during this time he had already collected all the information. Then he told Jiu Yuanhang about the situation. In other words, he's a potential enemy of our Jiu family. We can't let him live. Jiu Yuanhang's face showed a murderous look. When he comes out, I'll kill him, said Jiu Yuandang with a vicious look. No, he's so outstanding. He must have a lot to do with Tianji Tower. If you kill him, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Go to the family and summon some men of sacrifice. Kill him at the cost of a few men of sacrifice, Jiu Yuanhang said. In terms of experience, Jiu Yuandang was much worse than him, so he had thought it through thoroughly. Jiu Yuandang nodded and left. However, Lan Yuxuan saw all this. She had seen Jiu Yuandang show up twice, so she became even more cautious. If she still didn't know that Night Sorrow was in danger, she would be an idiot. She wouldn't have become a supervisor of Tianji Tower. Chapter 486. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow rested for a while, stretched his waist, and looked at the stairs leading to the 60th floor. At this time he was very calm. Being able to reach this level meant that he was at the peak of the 5th rank. This was enough for him. Night Sorrow stepped on the stairs, intending to continue. When he reached his limit, he would begin to meditate. Night Sorrow had just stepped on the stairs when the violent energy bombardment began. He did not move forward but stood in place and endured, not being rushed down. At this time, Night Sorrow saw an unusual phenomenon. An energy shadow appeared 6 or 7 meters in front of him, waving its arms and controlling the energy to attack Night Sorrow. Energy guard? Although Night Sorrow was surprised, he did not think it was strange. He had seen many energy guards in the Thunder Tower. Unfortunately, he was far away from this energy shadow and could not attack it at close range. He wanted to fight it, but the impact of the energy made it impossible for him to cross the distance of 6 or 7 meters. Controlled by the energy shadow, the energy went berserk, constantly attacking Night Sorrow. At this time, there was an extremely strong soul energy attack. It was automatically blocked by the Void Fate Pearl, which protected its master, outside of Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Love Gon Little Say W. Chu. Without the hindrance of his soul being attacked, Night Sorrow's feet landed on the ground as if he had taken root. At the same time he took out the sky-piercing spear with ice serpent tendons. After infusing it with vibration energy, it flew toward the energy shadow. Vibration energy was the most effective when attacking energy bodies. The strong vibration would make the energy body unstable, and the damage was the highest. Night Sorrow held 4 sky-piercing spears with ice serpent tendons in both hands and attacked the energy shadow alternately. The energy shadow was hit several times by Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spears, but it was not affected much. The energy shadow retreated 6 meters, out of Night Sorrow's attack range. At this moment, Night Sorrow activated his innate bloodline ability and unleashed a spatial rend. Night Sorrow's spatial rend was much more powerful now that his soul power had reached perfection. It was as if the spatial rend had pierced through space and struck the energy phantom. Being struck by the energy of the space crack, the energy figure shook. Because the energy figure was affected by the attack, the energy suppressing Night Sorrow was greatly reduced. Stomping his foot, Night Sorrow charged forward. As he did so, Night Sorrow fired another spatial rend. The space rend energy slash, which seemed to have broken through the restraints of space, directly cut the energy figure's body. It made the energy figure's body shake again. K is the only official version. V5. All other Qs are pirated QS. At this moment, Night Sorrow had also arrived in front of the energy figure. Night Sorrow, who no longer suppressed his attributes, poured his incorporeal true energy into his reincarnation spear. He executed the 7 stars brilliant moon spear art and began to attack the energy figure. Void attribute. It's actually the void attribute. I'm not fighting anymore. The energy figure spoke in human language and retreated a few meters. Then, It waved its arm and the energy of the entire 59th floor gathered on its body. With all the energy gathered on the energy figure, Night Sorrow no longer felt any pressure. At the same time, the energy figure also became clearer. It was a girl of about 11 or 12 years old. The energy even transformed into a small green skirt that covered her body. It seems like you have intelligence. I'm sorry for hurting you just now. Can I enter the next floor? Night Sorrow asked. He felt that if he defeated the guard, he would be able to enter the next floor. Yes, but there's no hurry. I have something to tell you. If you agree, then everything will be easy. The girl looked at Night Sorrow and said, Say it. Night Sorrow put away his reincarnation spear and took out a jar of wine to drink. We can be friends, but you can't bully me. The girl said. That's not a problem. Of course I can promise you. Night Sorrow said with some bewilderment. Then I can tell you. I'm the artifact spirit here. Because half of my attributes are the same as yours, I'll follow you from now on. Remember what you said, you can't bully me. The girl walked to Night Sorrow's side and said, You're not an energy guard. You're the artifact spirit of the Shantian Tower? Night Sorrow said with some shock. What energy guard? This spirit isn't. Also, the Shantian Tower sounds terrible. This spirit is the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. The Shantian Tower is a name that you cultivators randomly came up with. The girl in green said, Spacetime Treasure Pagoda, what kind of concept is that? Night Sorrow asked. It's a spirit treasure with the time and space attributes. The girl in green said. Then what should I call you? Night Sorrow asked. Just call me Little Kong. You're not bad. Not only is your soul power perfect, you also have the space attribute which has reached the standard I set. If you didn't reach this standard, I wouldn't have appeared. In addition, you also have the Supreme Void attribute which is very powerful. Little Kong sized up Night Sorrow and said, In other words, if you follow me in the future, I can use this Spacetime Treasure Pagoda? Night Sorrow asked. This was the question he was most concerned about. As long as you don't bully me, it's fine. I can listen to you and help you do some things, but you have to take me with you. Little Kong seemed to be closer to Night Sorrow. But I can't. If I take you with me now, I'll be hunted down. It'll be very miserable. Night Sorrow said while rubbing his forehead. If Night Sorrow took the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda, the Qingtian region would be turned upside down. The Qingtian region's city lord mansion would hunt him down in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. If anyone wants to kill you, you can use me to kill them. But that won't do. Your strength is too low. Little Kong looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow blushed. He was actually looked down upon by the Shantian Pagoda, or rather, the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda's artifact spirit. He was probably the first in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that if he wanted to take away the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda, he could only steal it. If he stole the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda without anyone noticing, it would be impossible to swagger away. How about this? You stay here and don't worry. I'll take you away later. But if I don't enter the pagoda, how can I communicate with you? Night Sorrow asked. That's not a problem. Send a strand of your soul power to me, and then I'll give you a strand of origin energy. This way we can communicate at any time. However, we can't communicate too far away. Otherwise it won't work. Little Kong said. Then Night Sorrow sent a strand of his soul power into Little Kong's energy body. Following that, Little Kong sent a strand of origin energy into Night Sorrow's divine sea. After Little Kong's origin energy entered Night Sorrow's divine sea, Night Sorrow found that Little Kong's thoughts appeared in his mind. Don't let anyone find out about this. Otherwise it'll be troublesome. Night Sorrow reminded Little Kong. I'm not afraid. Even if I'm found out, others will find trouble with you. Once I seal the pagoda, who can do anything to me? Little Kong looked at Night Sorrow with a strange gaze. If he used Night Sorrow's feelings, it would be disdain or even a joke. Chapter 487. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Original C initial R. Sense C, you're strong. Alright, I have 2 other companions who are also challenging the tower. They are 2 women. Night Sorrow asked about Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu. They're all cultivating on the 54th floor. The 2 of them are not bad, Shao Kong answered directly. That's good. I'll discuss the plan to sneak you away, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. The biggest problem lies in the fact that there is an expert at the top of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Otherwise, I could have easily defeated the guards around it, Shao Kong said as he raised his head. What's going on? Night Sorrow asked with a frown. It's an old man. He has a spiritual treasure. Using that spiritual treasure, he's currently hovering above my true body. He's using my true body to absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to cultivate there. He's taking advantage of me. I've been tolerating him because of the spiritual stones, Shao Kong said. I don't know much about spirit stones. Night Sorrow shook his head. It's like this. If I open the tower to the outside world, they have to feed me spirit stones. In fact, the energy consumed by the people who challenge the tower is 1/3 of the energy they feed me. I still have some profit. So, looking at their spirit stones, I didn't move. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to bear the bastards above. Shao Kong said. Then what should we do? Night Sorrow was at a loss. That's right. I can't harm you. That guy is at the peak of the Paragon realm. If we don't get rid of him, it'll be troublesome. Shao Kong said. Peak Monarch realm, could it be the sky-bearing city lord? Night Sorrow narrowed his eyes in thought. I don't know about that, Shao Kong said. You have the dual attributes of time and space. Can't you break through space? Or is there any other way? Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. I can. But after entering the spatial crack, if I can't fix the location with you, we'll be pulled away by the spatial turbulence. If we fly directly, we won't be able to escape the seal of the old man above. Shao Kong said after thinking for a while. That's a problem. Night Sorrow was helpless. If he couldn't solve the problem, he wouldn't be able to take the space-time treasure pagoda away. Not really. If you can tear space, I can fix the location through the spatial crack. For example, if you tear space twice, I can fix the location the first time. The second time, I can come out of the spatial crack. Shao Kong explained his idea. But I can't right now. Yishan rubbed his head and said. Try using your spatial technique again, Shao Kong said to Yishan. Although Night Sorrow the spatial crack, the spatial crack, the crack, the spatial crack, the crack, the spatial crack, the crack, the crack, the crack very quickly closed. I can enter and exit this space crack, but the speed at which it's closing is way too fast. If only I could stabilize it. Lil Kong said with a pout. Steady? Then can I find a venerable to seal the space and slow down the closing of the spatial crack? Night Sorrow asked. Of course. My origin energy is on you. As long as there's a spatial crack, I can feel it. Even if it's small, I'm not afraid. I just need to maintain it for a while. Love Gon Little say W. Chu Shao Kong nodded at Night Sorrow. That's good. I'll find a reliable venerable to help me do this. Night Sorrow said. You have to hurry. I'm worried that the guy above will break through. Many years ago he was a peak venerable. Who knows when he will enter the Saint Realm? If that's the case, we won't have any chance. Although I can prevent him from recognizing me as his master, it's impossible for me to escape. Shao Kong said. I'll take care of this soon. Don't worry. Night Sorrow patted Shao Kong's shoulder and said. If you help me, I'll help you. I have a lot of abilities. You'll know them slowly. Shao Kong raised her head and looked at Night Sorrow. All right. Let's not expose ourselves. I'll continue to cultivate. You can just teleport us out 3 days later. Night Sorrow said. Let's go to the 60th floor. The energy there is abundant. It's more suitable for cultivation. Shao Kong said to Night Sorrow. It's not suitable. If the people outside know that I've reached the 60th floor with a cultivation base of the 4th level of the Void Inquiry stage, it will be a big joke. It will also attract attention. If I bring you away, it will be easy for me to expose myself. Night Sorrow said. If it wasn't for Shao Kong, Night Sorrow would certainly want to go higher. Now he had some scruples. If you want them to know, they will know. If you don't want them to know, they won't know. Give me the jade token. Let's go up. Shao Kong waved her hand at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow gave the jade token to Shao Kong. Then, under her lead, Night Sorrow entered the 60th floor. The 60th floor was an area that only Venerable Realm experts could reach. The density of the energy there had already reached an extreme level. Shao Kong, the energy in this space of yours is very terrifying. Night Sorrow said. Yes. However, if people keep coming and going, a lot of it will be absorbed away. This is harmful to me. Therefore, even if Venerable Realm experts come, I will control them and stop them below the 60th floor. I also want to cultivate and I don't want others to skin me alive. That's why I want you to bring me away. Shao Kong said. Don't worry. We'll definitely work. Night Sorrow comforted Shao Kong and sat down to meditate and begin his cultivation. His cultivation lasted for 2 days. Night Sorrow did not know that the situation outside was already very tense. The death warriors of Jiyu clan were hiding in the area in front of the Shantian Tower. The patrol captain of the Tianji Tower had also appeared in this area with his men. Lan Yuxuan also showed up directly. This was to deter Jiyu clan because it was better to avoid war if they could. At this moment, on the top floor of the Tianji Tower, which was not far away from the space-time pagoda, Guoxiao stood with his hands clasped behind his back. Beside him was a man wearing a golden mask. Yao Yang Night Sorrow is very important to our Tianji Tower. During the days when he is in the Qingtian region, you will protect him secretly. As long as a venerable realm expert tries to attack him, kill him. Guoxiao said to the man behind him. Yao Yang understands. The man wearing the golden mask nodded. He was the leader of the 3 gold palace guards, Yao Yang. Currently, our Tianji Tower only has 2 heaven pole emissaries. Therefore, as long as they don't do anything wrong, we will fight any forces for them. Guoxiao said. This subordinate understands. Yao Yang nodded. On Night Sorrow's side, after Shao Kong's reminder, he ended his cultivation. Peak 4th grade void inquiry stage. Shao Kong, this place of yours is indeed a sacred place for cultivation. Night Sorrow said after sensing his cultivation base. You are sucking my blood. However, a small portion of it won't harm me. You can leave now. We can communicate within 20 li asterisk 500 m per li of this spacetime pagoda. Shao Kong said to Night Sorrow. Then I'll leave first. I will communicate with you later in the surroundings. Also, I will make the best use of my time to bring you away. Night Sorrow stood up and said. Then I'll wait for your news. If you succeed, I won't have to serve this group of bastards anymore. Also, there are many cultivators with killing intent around the pagoda. Be careful. Take the jade token. Shao Kong threw the jade token to Night Sorrow and said. Perhaps they are the city guards. Night Sorrow tidied up his robe and said. Chapter 488. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Then Night Sorrow fell into a trance. When he came back to his senses, he was already standing in front of the gate of the spacetime pagoda. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were standing beside him. How are you two? Night Sorrow asked. Very good. It's indeed much more powerful than the Thunder Tower, Yang Lei said. Let's go. Night Sorrow said and walked towards Jiyu Yuanhang. I'll pay the bill, Night Sorrow said when he arrived in front of Jiyu Yuanhang. 2 with the 54th floor and 1 with the 59th floor. Add 20 top-grade crystal stones, Jiyu Yuanhang said. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He took Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu's jade tablets, then took out 20 top-grade spirit stones and put them on the table in front of Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. After that, he walked out with a surprised look on their faces. Be careful, we're being watched, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. Needless to say, it must be those shameless people from the Jiyu family, Sikong Chuyu said in a low voice. Let's get closer to Supervisor Lan. Night Sorrow said and moved closer to Lan Yuxuan. So far he had found a few black-clothed people whose cultivation bases were higher than his, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. He didn't want to take the risk. If he was alone, Night Sorrow would have killed them. But now he was more concerned about the safety of Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei. Seeing Night Sorrow and the other 2 coming over, Lan Yuxuan didn't say anything. She just moved her arms and some people moved, imperceptibly protecting Night Sorrow and the other 2. On the other side, Ji Yuanhang shook his head at Ji Yuandang, who was about to make a move. Ji Yuanhang knew that if he made a move now, he wouldn't have the chance to do so, and Tianji Tower would surely retaliate. After leaving for a while, Night Sorrow's group of 3 rode Tianyu and the dark feathered eagle out of this area. Lan Yuxuan brought some people to bring up the rear and didn't follow. Did you notice? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, there are at least 20 people with murderous intent lurking in the crowd, Sikong Chuyu said. It's not easy to stay in the Qingtian domain. Let's make some preparations and return to the eastern Shen domain. This Jiyu family is too shameless. We can't defeat them yet, said Yang Lei. I can't leave. I still have some things to do. Let's go back and talk. Piloting Tianyu, Night Sorrow made sure that no one was following them and flew straight to the mansion district. In the air, the 3 put on their masks and went through the inspection of the Silver Palace guards before returning to the mansion. Night Sorrow, the Jiyu family is too hateful, Yang Lei said somewhat angrily. It's only a matter of time before we deal with them. Night Sorrow took the 2 girls to the backyard. Why not leave? After entering the backyard, Sikong Chuyu asked while making tea. Because of the Shantian Tower. It should be called the Space-Time Pagoda, Night Sorrow said. What? Sikong Chuyu's hand trembled and spilled the water. I have to find a way to take the Space-Time Pagoda away, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei. What do you mean? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, didn't you say that you would take the Shantian Tower away if you had the chance? The real name of the Shantian Tower is the Space-Time Pagoda. The problem is, how do you move it? There are so many guards. If I take it away, won't they kill me? Night Sorrow said. You mean that you made the Shantian Tower? Oh no, the Space-Time Pagoda recognize you as its master? Sikong Chiyu asked. You can say that. We are friends. Her origin body has the power of my soul, and my spirit sea has the power of her origin body. We can communicate. The problem now is how to move it away. Night Sorrow took the tea that Sikong Chiyu handed over with trembling hands. You're really ruthless, Yang Lei said excitedly. I can't believe you actually made my ninth senior sister's joke real. Now, let's think about how we're going to take away the #1 spiritual treasure of the Qingtian realm. There are many problems. We won't be able to move it away by ourselves. If we want to move it away, we will need the help of a top supremacy. Otherwise, we won't be able to avoid the obstruction of that old man above the Space-Time Pagoda. It will cause a lot of trouble. Night Sorrow explained the situation that Little Kong had told him. It's very difficult. We have two choices in front of us. One is to inform Auntie Fei and we will wait here for news. The other is to report to the Chief Tower Master and ask for his help. The only difference is, Night Sorrow, can you trust the Chief Tower Master? Sikong Chiyu said. This shouldn't be a problem. The upper echelons of Tianji Tower are trustworthy. They are all seniors worthy of respect. How about this? I will go see the Chief Tower Master later and see what he has to say. After all, this is a big matter that might cause a commotion. We have to think about Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow said. Yes, if we don't have a plan, it would be irresponsible of us to cause trouble, Sikong Chiyu said. Alright, you guys wait for me here. I will go to the Sky Pole Dark Palace now, Night Sorrow said as he stood up. Sikong Chiyu and Yang Lei both nodded because this matter was indeed too big. It was so big that it could cause a war. Riding on the Sky Feather, Yi Shang arrived at the Celestial Peak Pavilion. Holding the token and wearing a mask, Yi Shang arrived at the underground hall of the Celestial Peak Pavilion without any obstructions. Taking off his mask, Night Sorrow cupped his hands to the Heavenly Star Palace's guard. I want to go to the Dark Palace. Please. Heavenly Star bowed to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array and was teleported to the Sky Pole Dark Palace. In the Dark Palace Hall, Night Sorrow didn't see Lin Yuandao and the others, but there was a supervisor. After the supervisor greeted Night Sorrow, he said that the K-Lord was out and not in the Dark Palace. When the K-Lord returns, please inform me. I have something important to discuss with the K-Lord, Night Sorrow said. I will remember Sir's instructions. I will do it well, the supervisor on duty said. All right, Night Sorrow nodded to the supervisor and left the Dark Palace, returning to his mansion. What did he say? Sikong Chiyu asked. Read the original chapter, Ion R. I didn't see anyone. Night Sorrow shook his head and told him about the situation at the Dark Palace. Then let's wait. They will be out for a short time. Let's cultivate and wait, Sikong Chiyu said. Just as they were talking, Lan Yuxuan arrived. Night Sorrow, the situation isn't good. Ji Yu's family is targeting you, Lan Yuxuan said. I know, but I can only endure it now because I don't have the strength. Night Sorrow was a little depressed. It's nothing. I came to tell you to be careful. No matter how arrogant Ji Yu's family is, they can't be arrogant to the Tianji Tower, Lan Yuxuan said. The three of us plan to cultivate quietly for a few days. Night Sorrow said. He didn't want to tell Lan Yuxuan about the Space-Time Pagoda. It wouldn't solve the problem and could easily change. Chapter 489. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After sending Lan Yuxuan off, Night Sorrow asked Kei Xiang to prepare a table of food and wine. Then the three of them drank to celebrate. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com 13. You're too scary. Ninth senior sister was just joking and you made it a reality. That's good enough, Yang Lei said. The problem is that it's not easy to get the Space-Time Pagoda. Moreover, we'll owe them a favor, Night Sorrow said. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, the Space-Time Pagoda is too important, Sikong Chiyu said. The space-time pagoda was the #1 spiritual treasure of the Qingtian region. It was also the symbol of the Qingtian region. Not to mention the cultivators of other regions, there was no cultivator in the Qingtian region who didn't know about the Shantian pagoda. If the Shantian pagoda, which was also the space-time pagoda, disappeared, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. The commotion that would sweep through the Qingtian region would also weaken the Qingtian region's strength. Just thinking about it makes me excited. The #1 spiritual treasure of the Qingtian region is ranked the highest among the known spiritual treasures. Just thinking about it makes me excited. If we can get that thing in our hands, it'll be very powerful, Yang Lei said with a smile. Let's deal with it first and get it first. The main thing is that the guy above the space-time pagoda is a hidden danger. We don't know who he is and what his cultivation level is. Night Sorrow was still a little worried. No matter how strong he is, he's not a saint, right? If he was a saint, he would have already made a big move in the Qingtian region. It wouldn't be so peaceful. If he's not a venerable, it's impossible for him to make a big move, Sikong Chuyu said after analyzing. Okay, let's wait for Lord K to come back first. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that it was better to wait for Lin Yuandao to come back before making a decision again. Over the next few days, Night Sorrow cultivated every day. When he had time, he would go to the Shantian Square. However, he was always with Lan Yuxuan. He changed into the same white battle robes and black battle robes. He also wore a mask. Night Sorrow was wearing a mask and a new robe. It was hard to say whether the Jiyu family would recognize him or not, but they definitely wouldn't dare to directly attack Night Sorrow, who was a member of the Tianji Tower, because that would be a declaration of war. Declare war? Even Sky-bearing City couldn't declare war on Tianji Tower, much less the Jiyu family. If a war broke out, Tianji Tower might suffer losses, but the Jiyu family would no longer exist. Even the other branches in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures would be uprooted. Lan Yuxuan didn't understand why Night Sorrow was doing this, but since Night Sorrow didn't say, she didn't ask because it wasn't appropriate. She was now a subordinate and was only responsible for protecting Night Sorrow and coordinating the relationship with Tianji Tower. She couldn't care less about anything else. Night Sorrow could sense Shao Kong's existence even though he was very far away from the space-time pagoda, but he couldn't communicate with her. After entering the range of 20 li, Night Sorrow could communicate with Shao Kong. Shao Kong was a bit impatient. She didn't want to stay here right now. Night Sorrow was comforting her and telling her about the current situation. Night Sorrow felt that it was fine if he didn't take action. If he did, he would do it well. There was only one chance. If he didn't succeed this time, Sky-bearing City wouldn't give him a second chance to take away the space-time pagoda. Even if it was just a decoration, it had to be left in the Sky-bearing City. After communicating with Shao Kong for a few days, Shao Kong's affinity with Night Sorrow had increased. Every day when Night Sorrow came, Shao Kong would talk to Night Sorrow endlessly. Under Shao Kong's guidance, Night Sorrow even bought a time crystal. If it wasn't for Shao Kong's guidance, Night Sorrow wouldn't have been able to recognize that the gray stone was a time crystal. After cultivating his foundation at night and practicing his spear techniques during the day, Night Sorrow would walk around the profound heaven square. In the blink of an eye, 1 month had passed. Night Sorrow's cultivation base had also advanced to the 5th level of the Void Inquiry stage. His Myriad Dao Treasure Tome had also advanced to the 2nd level of the Dao Seeking Realm. His soul power had also improved very quickly, mainly because of his good foundation. The quality of Night Sorrow's soul power was perfect. Therefore, it was easier for him to increase the quantity of his soul power. If it was a normal Spirit C, Night Sorrow's soul power would improve even faster. His Spirit C was more than 1/3 larger than ordinary people's Spirit C. This made Night Sorrow's foundation solid. At the same time, it also made it more difficult for Night Sorrow to improve his soul power. On this day when Night Sorrow had just finished his cultivation, he discovered that some people had come. They were Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a mask. C initial E initial S 4-inch Lord K Lord Aunt Fei, why are you here? Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei in surprise. I'm here to see how you are doing. Wu Lingfei said. Elderly and I swallowed our pride and invited you here. How many years has it been since Lord Wu Kei came to our headquarters? Lin Yuandao said with a smile. It's good that Aunt Fei is here. Since Wu Lingfei was here, Night Sorrow felt more confident. Lin Yuandao took a cup of tea from Sikong Chuyu and sat down. Night Sorrow, I went to the Dark Hall with Lord Wu Quebec. I heard from the supervisor that you were looking for me. What is it? It's a big matter, so I have to tell Lord K. Lord. It's like this. The Shantian Tower has already communicated with me. To put it bluntly, the Shantian Tower, or the Spacetime Pagoda, has recognized me as its master. The problem I need to face now is how to take it away. The City Lord Mansion will definitely not allow this. Night Sorrow explained the situation from beginning to end. The Shantian Tower recognizing you as its master is a good thing. It's also a big matter. If it's not handled properly, it might lead to a war. Lin Yuandao's expression was very serious. If this matter is very troublesome, I'll wait a little longer. I must steal this Spacetime Pagoda, Night Sorrow said. You can't wait. According to what you said, the Shantian Tower, or the Spacetime Pagoda, only has someone at the peak of the Venerable Realm. If he enters the Saint Realm, then the Spacetime Pagoda will have nothing to do with you. Your opportunity will be snatched away. Senior Brother Lin, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Wu Lingfei looked at Lin Yuandao and asked. Junior Sister Wu, don't worry. It's true that the Spacetime Pagoda belongs to the City Lord Mansion, but it doesn't have an owner. Everything has a spirit. It chose Night Sorrow, so it's Night Sorrow's opportunity. It's not wrong for us to help Night Sorrow. Now, we just need to think of a foolproof way to silently eat the meat without others knowing who ate it. That's perfect, Lin Yuandao said. In the Tianji Tower, the Chief Tower Master and Deputy Chief Tower Master were addressed as Senior Brother and Junior Sister. Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei had both been celestial emissaries, so it was appropriate for them to address each other as Senior Brother and Junior Sister. Night Sorrow, I think you must have a plan. Tell me about it. We have to be careful, Wu Lingfei said. She understood Night Sorrow and knew that Night Sorrow must have a plan in mind. It's like this. I have a plan, but I need others to help. The Spacetime Pagoda can break through space and leave, but if you want to find me, you need to cooperate. Night Sorrow explained his idea. This plan is feasible. Prepare to steal and prepare to fight. We must have the Spacetime Pagoda, Wu Lingfei said. Junior Sister Wu, what do you think is appropriate? Lin Yuandao looked at Wu Lingfei and asked. Chapter 490. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. How about this, Junior Martial Sister Wu, you take Night Sorrow with you. You're better than me in terms of spatial imprisonment. If there's a battle, I'll take care of it. Lin Yuandao rejected Wu Lingfei's suggestion. Senior Martial Brother Lin, it's not appropriate for Qinji Tower to go to war with the Qingtian region, but the Eastern Xian region doesn't have this concern, and it won't cause any trouble. After Night Sorrow succeeds, you all retreat and I'll fight him here. If worst comes to worst, I'll retreat as well. This will turn into a war between the Qingtian region and the Eastern Xian region. It's not like such a war has never happened before. Alright, I'll respect Junior Sister Wu's decision. In addition, a portion of our Tianji Tower's troops will also be transferred to the Eastern Xian region. If they want to attack the Eastern Xian region, then let's give it a try. We'll kill as many as they send. Lin Yuandao said. Then it's settled. Night Sorrow, do you need anything else? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. There's nothing else. When the time comes, I'll communicate with the Spacetime Pagoda and have her disappear into thin air. Before she disappears, I'll trick that guy up there. I'll just wait here to receive her. There's nothing to prepare, Night Sorrow said. Then it's settled. I'll go back and arrange for people to head to the Tianji Tower's Qingtian region branch and make preparations for a tough battle. We'll take action tomorrow. Also, perhaps he hasn't discovered anything. I'll leave with Night Sorrow and Junior Sister Wu won't need to fight. Lin Yuandao made a summary of the operation plan. After chatting for a while, Lin Yuandao left. Wu Lingfei didn't leave. She didn't have anything else to do. Now that Auntie Fei is here, I have some confidence in my heart. Originally, I planned to return to Eastern Xian region to discuss this matter with Auntie Fei. However, going back and forth is too time-consuming, said Night Sorrow. Master K's side is completely trustworthy. The law enforcement elder, the guardian elder, the chief supervisor, and the chief guardian are all the core members of Tianji Tower. They are all trustworthy people. Wu Lingfei took off her mask, picked up the tea in front of her, and took a sip. It's true that I've always been troubled by something. This has brought trouble to Tianji Tower and the Eastern Xian region. Night Sorrow said apologetically. That's nothing. It's a good thing. In addition, there are some things that Auntie Fei wants to tell you. Eastern Xian region and Tianji Tower will advance and retreat together in the future. Wu Lingfei explained to Night Sorrow that Tianji Tower wanted to expand into a second base in the Eastern Xian region. That's good. Tianji Tower won't fight for territory. This will only strengthen our Eastern Xian region. It's a good thing, said Night Sorrow. Auntie Fei also thinks so. Auntie Fei is a member of Tianji Tower and also a member of Eastern Shen region. Therefore, I don't want any conflict between the two sides. I feel that the interests of both sides are very important. If Tianji Tower establishes a second base in Eastern Shen region, the number of members from Eastern Shen region will increase. In addition, the talents from other regions will grow in Eastern Shen region and develop feelings for Eastern Shen region. Therefore, this is beneficial to both Eastern Shen region and Tianji Tower. Yes, I understand. Night Sorrow said. It's good that you understand. In addition, Tianji Tower's regulations have also been revised. It means that the City Lord of 9 regions Royal City can also be the K-Master. In fact, this doesn't conflict. This way Tianji Tower can develop faster. It also solves the concerns of some members. Who doesn't have feelings for their hometown? Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. That's right. For a force to develop, the first thing to do is to set a path. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this regulation had something to do with Wu Lingfei coming from Eastern Shen region. There's one more thing. It's about you. This is the intention of the upper echelons of Tianji Tower. It's also the key to this cooperation. In the future, Auntie Fei will no longer care about Eastern Shen region. They hope that you will be the successor. This way there won't be any cracks in the cooperation between Eastern Shen region and Tianji Tower. Wu Lingfei threw out another topic. Meh. That won't do. Let's not talk about my strength. I still have a lot of things to do. Night Sorrow shook his head. Why are you in such a hurry? Auntie Fei is here. It's not like Auntie Fei will no longer care about things tomorrow or the day after. You don't have to worry about this. It's just a topic. Wu Lingfei said. Alright, I have no objections. Night Sorrow said. Then Auntie Fei won't join in the fun. We'll talk tomorrow. Wu Lingfei stood up and said. Auntie Fei can stay here. Night Sorrow also stood up and said. Auntie Fei also has a mansion here. The second mansion is Auntie Fei's. I haven't been there for many years. I'll go take a look now. You don't have to worry about it. After putting on her mask, Wu Lingfei stood up and left Night Sorrow's mansion. Eastern Shen region is about to change. With a good foundation, it'll only take a long time to develop in the future. In addition, with 2 big shots taking action, it won't be a problem to get the Spacetime Pagoda. Sikong Chiyu said. Fortunately, I hope it will go smoothly this time. I really don't want to bring trouble to Eastern Shen region and Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow said. If the Spacetime Pagoda's ability to travel through space is strong, the chances of being discovered are not high. Sikong Chiyu said. Alright, you two go cultivate. Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu nodded and went to cultivate. They knew that Night Sorrow needed some peace and quiet. After cultivating for the whole night, Night Sorrow got up to cultivate his spear art. Lin Yuandao came over. You're in good shape. Lin Yuandao greeted when he saw Night Sorrow cultivating. Lord K is here. Night Sorrow put away his spear and wiped his sweat. And? Lin Yuandao nodded and found a place to sit down. Mu het. Not long after Lin Yuandao sat down, Wu Lingfei also came over. Although the mansion was isolated from detection by a formation, experts could still sense some clues. Senior brother Lin. Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a veil, greeted. Junior sister Wu, everything has been arranged. We'll use the first plan. If it goes well, we'll take the Spacetime Pagoda away. If it doesn't, we'll use the second plan and start the war. Lin Yuandao said. Good. Today we'll tear down the Qingtian City Lord's mansion's signboard. This is the beginning of a battle, not the end. Wu Lingfei said. Then we'll set off. You two don't need to go. Lin Yuandao looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu. Okay, we'll wait here. Auntie Fei, be careful. Yang Lei said. And? Wu Lingfei nodded. After leaving the manor, concubine Wu Lingfei led Yishang and Lin Yuandao toward the Shantian Tower. When they were still some distance away from the Shantian Tower, Lin Yuandao nodded to Wu Lingfei and she stopped. If there was no battle, then Wu Lingfei would be trapped in the Spacetime Pagoda. Her purpose was to fight when the other side discovered her. If she wasn't discovered, then there was no need for her to appear. She would go to the Tianji Tower branch and wait. Chapter 491. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yishan communicated with Lil Kong and told him where he was and the approximate distance he would be at during the operation. Night Sorrow couldn't use Spatial Ren to take the Spacetime Pagoda in close proximity. That way he wouldn't be able to avoid the detection of Jiyu Yuanhang and the others. Most importantly, the person on top of the spacetime pagoda was very strong. If they moved in close proximity, they would definitely be discovered and a battle would definitely break out. After communicating with Xiao Kong, Knight Sorrow and Lin Yuandao moved southwest to a courtyard where the Qinji Tower branch was located. This location was also a suitable place to fight after a problem occurred because the Qinji Tower's people had all concealed their auras and were hiding in this branch. Under normal circumstances, no one would investigate this area, including the people of the sky-bearing city's City Lord's mansion. This was because the colossal Qinji Tower wasn't something they could casually touch. After arriving at the location, Knight Sorrow looked at the spacetime pagoda. Although it was a bit far from the pagoda, Knight Sorrow could still see very clearly. He could see anything that happened in the towering pagoda. At this moment, the pagoda began to tremble. This caused the people around the pagoda to become restless, not understanding what was going on. The pagoda's trembling caused the surrounding cornerstones to shatter and the formation to break. Everyone who was close to the pagoda was blown away. Then, energy circulated around the pagoda and a huge energy phantom that was exactly the same as the pagoda shot into the sky. At this moment, an angry snort rang out. Knight Sorrow, who was about 100 miles away, heard it clearly. Then the pagoda shrank and the tip of the pagoda moved. A black spatial rend appeared and the pagoda flashed into the spatial rend. Before the pagoda completely entered the spatial rend, a huge energy hand grabbed at it. The pagoda that was attacked spun with energy and shook the hand away. Then it entered the spatial rend. At this moment, Knight Sorrow's bloodline talent erupted and he used spatial rend to slash at the space in front of him. A hissing sound rang out as a spatial crack appeared. Although it was a thin black crack, it was still a spatial crack. However, it didn't last for long before it closed up. With a low roar, Knight Sorrow once again used space rend to cut open the space in front of him. It was then that Lin Yuandao made his move. Both his hands stretched out to tear open the spatial crack, causing it to widen slightly before locking down space. Just as Lin Yuandao was about to lock down space, a beam of light flashed out and rushed into Knight Sorrow's body. Spacetime pagoda. Knight Sorrow knew that it was the spacetime pagoda that had entered his body. Seeing that the matter was settled, Lin Yuandao waved his arm and smoothed out the space, allowing the energy to stabilize. Then the aura on his body dissipated and returned to normal. In the air above where the spacetime pagoda had originally been, angry roars rang out one after another. A large hand of energy was still being controlled, clawing wildly within the spatial rift that had yet to close. It's settled? Lin Yuandao said softly. It went very smoothly. This is good. There won't be too much of a disturbance, said Knight Sorrow, who was inspecting his body. At this time, the spacetime pagoda was inside Knight Sorrow's dantian. It was only 2 inches tall, and Knight Sorrow's core was spinning at the top of the pagoda. Everything was so perfect and harmonious. Although there won't be a battle, the disturbance won't be small. Sky-bearing City's face will be completely destroyed. As long as they aren't stupid, they will know that the spacetime pagoda has recognized a master. An ownerless spirit treasure wouldn't have such a reaction. Wu Lingfei appeared beside Knight Sorrow. As long as we weren't discovered at the time, what can they do even if they find out anything? If they touch our Heaven's Fate emissary, then they must be prepared to raise the City Lord's mansion to the ground, said Lin Yuandao. Knight Sorrow, what's the situation? Wu Lingfei looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Knight Sorrow stretched out his arm and the translucent spacetime pagoda appeared in Knight Sorrow's palm. Hurry up and put it away. Don't let your aura be detected, Wu Lingfei reminded Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow nodded and put the spacetime pagoda back into his body. You really have heaven-defying luck. How many spirit treasures do you have now? You're practically a moving treasury, Lin Yuandao said to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow's golden phoenix flexible armor and ice silk soft clothes couldn't hide from him. That guy was heavily injured. It's Jiyu Fenglan, said Wu Lingfei. He really is unlucky. I didn't think that guy would be hiding at the top of the spacetime pagoda. Lin Yuandao sighed. After all, no one would have thought that the City Lord of Sky-bearing City would hide at the top of the spacetime pagoda after not showing himself for countless years. He's above the spacetime pagoda, intercepting the spacetime pagoda's energy to cultivate. The spacetime pagoda has long been dissatisfied. It's only right to blast him, said Knight Sorrow. So many years have passed. He hasn't grown much, said Wu Lingfei. Lin Yuandao smiled and nodded. There was no one else besides Wu Lingfei who could evaluate the City Lord of Sky-bearing City like this. Supra, New chapter / Supra. If others said this, they would be bragging. However, Wu Lingfei had fought the city lords of Sky-Bearing City and Taiwa City alone. Although both sides had suffered heavy injuries, her battle record had still shocked the world. That battle had made everyone know that as long as Lord Golden Phoenix and Wu Lingfei were present, the Eastern Shen region couldn't be bullied. Lord K. Auntie Fei, have some tea, said Knight Sorrow as he brewed a pot of tea on the stone table in the courtyard. Go back and study it properly. However, you still have to be careful. The space-time pagoda's aura is rather unique. That guy can sense it and will investigate it. He will be able to detect you when you entered the pagoda some time ago. Lin Yuandao reminded Knight Sorrow. This matter can't withstand an investigation. In other words, this matter will definitely be exposed. Jiyu Fenglan is an unscrupulous person. He won't start an all-out war due to the pressure of Qinji Tower, but he's still capable of sneak attacks and assassinations, said Wu Lingfei. She knew Jiyu Fenglan very well. Then junior sister Wu will take Knight Sorrow back to the Eastern Shen region. Some of our people have already gone there. They can deal with and crush any storm, said Lin Yuandao. Lutrin Swan and Li Changtian had already stayed in the Eastern Shen region. The center of gravity of the Qinji Tower had shifted there, so the Eastern Shen region's power was naturally stronger. The several tycoons of the Qinji Tower were all great figures who could suppress a region. No matter where they would be giants. In the past, the Qingtian region and Taiwei region couldn't break in, so it was even more impossible now. That's fine. If there's any problem, senior brother Lin can send a message and we'll rush over. Wu Lingfei also agreed with Lin Yuandao's decision. Okay. Our Qinji Tower's strategic teleportation array can be completed in half a month. We can face all kinds of wars at any time. Even if the headquarters is a little lacking in manpower, someone can give it a try, said Lin Yuandao with a smile. Okay, it's settled then, said Wu Lingfei. Then Lin Yuandao left. Wu Lingfei took Knight Sorrow to the mansion area of the Qinji Tower in a beast carriage, leaving behind Jiyu Fenglan who was constantly screaming in the air. Chapter 492. Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second / Small? This is a wonderful novel for you to read. During the war with Eastern Profound Region, Jiyu Fenglan's blood and qi had been frozen by Wu Lingfei's profound jade spirit qi. His meridians had been frozen and cracked, causing him to be unable to recover. In the end, Jiyu Fenglan came up with a recovery method, which was to use the power of laws when the spacetime pagoda absorbed the energy of heaven and earth to heal himself. As he cultivated, Jiyu Fenglan's injuries slowly healed, and he comprehended the power of space. This made him very happy, and he felt that he could advance his earth attribute to the space attribute. Just as he was about to finish and enter the final stage of the attribute evolution, the spacetime pagoda shook, and a strong impact of the power of space directly scattered the small amount of space energy he had condensed. It directly destroyed the space attribute Dao foundation he had condensed for a long time, causing him to lose the opportunity to enter the higher attribute Dao foundation. In addition, his injuries showed signs of relapsing. How could he not be angry? However, no matter how he attacked the spatial crack, the spacetime pagoda did not appear again. Without the assistance of the spacetime pagoda, Jiyu Fenglan could no longer advance to the space attribute. After attacking for a while, Jiyu Fenglan landed on the ground and looked at the elders of the city lord's mansion and the senior members of Jiyu family who had already gathered. Who can tell me what's going on? Jiyu Fenglan stared at the group of people in front of him with his blood-red eyes and asked. Everything was normal yesterday and no one has entered the pagoda today. I don't know what happened. Jiyu Yuanhang bowed and said. City Lord, did the Shentian pagoda evolve and have its own consciousness? An old man asked. It had its own consciousness long ago, but it was hidden very deeply. Even if it had its own consciousness, such a situation would not have occurred. It should have recognized its master. Men, seal off the surroundings of the Shentian pagoda. No matter who it is, as long as they are suspicious, arrest them. Put Sky-Bearing City on the first level of alert. Jiyu Fenglan directly issued a series of orders. However, Knight Sorrow and Wu Lingfei had already gone far away, and the two soon arrived at the mansion district. Did it go well? Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu looked at Knight Sorrow nervously. It's going very smoothly. Chuyu, we can't go to Mount Yunwu anymore. The situation is rather serious, and it's very likely that a war will break out. Therefore, Auntie Fei and Lord K want us to return to the Eastern Profound region first. Knight Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu somewhat apologetically. Is there anything you need to do in Mount Yunwu? Wu Lingfei asked. Nothing much. I just want to report my safety. If it's not convenient, I won't go, Sikong Chuyu said. If it were any other time, it wouldn't be a big deal for me to accompany you to Yunwu Mountain. However, the current situation is special, and I have to go back to prepare for battle. Chuyu, write a letter, and I'll arrange for a senior member of Tianji Tower to deliver it, Wu Lingfei said. KQN version. First, release 3. Normally, Wu Lingfei would accompany Night Sorrow's group to Tianji Tower. However, she couldn't do so now because a war could break out at any time. As the person in charge of the Eastern Profound region, she had to be there. In addition, Tianji Tower had a big operation in the Eastern Profound region and needed her to preside over it. Most importantly, Night Sorrow would only be safe if he left the Qingtian region. Sikong Chuyu then wrote 2 letters. One was for Yang Tian of Mount Yunwu, and the other was for Sikong clan's third young master, Sikong Tianding, who was also her parents. Holding the letters, Wu Lingfei left for a while and directly handed the letters to the other senior members of Tianji Tower in the Mansion District. Then she left the Tianji Tower's Mansion District with the 3 of them. After the masked group arrived at the teleportation formation, they directly teleported to Dongyuan City and headed for Donghua City. This time they didn't use mounts. Wu Lingfei directly flew with them. Their speed was completely incomparable to flying mounts. What Night Sorrow's group didn't know was that not long after they teleported out of Qingtian City, the teleportation formation of Qingtian City was closed and the entire city was under martial law. Jiu Fenglan understood that the space-time pagoda had recognized a master and was taken away. If there was no one to receive them, then the space-time pagoda should still be where it was and had its own consciousness. At most, it wouldn't recognize others and wouldn't let them recognize a master, but it wouldn't cause such a big commotion. Many people were disgusted by the martial law of Qingtian City, but there was nothing they could do. In Qingtian City, the orders of the city lord manor were the most authoritative. Even if they were dissatisfied, they could only endure it. Staying in the Celestial Peak Pavilion, Lin Yuandao only smiled when he received the news. Jiu Fenglan's reaction was very fast, but it was too late. The change of master of the Spacetime Pagoda not only reduced the strength of Qingtian City, but also increased the strength of Tianji Tower. At present, Night Sorrow wasn't a sovereign, so the Spacetime Pagoda couldn't display its power. When Night Sorrow entered the sovereign realm, then Night Sorrow with the Spacetime Pagoda would be the nightmare of all opponents. Lin Yuandao liked Yishang very much. In Lin Yuandao's heart, Yishang was still a little immature and looked a little childish. However, his clear eyes showed that Yishang's heart was pure and sunny, without any evil or dark thoughts. This was also the reason why he wanted to pull Yishang to his side and not allow the Ministry of Supervision and the 2 elders to have any ideas about him. He planned to wait and see. If Yishang successfully entered the Venerable Realm, then he would announce Yishang as the young K-Lord. The Celestial Peak emissaries were the successors of Tianji Tower's leaders, but there were still uncertainties about where to take them and what arrangements to make. They were completely different from the young master. Everything went smoothly. Guoxiao came to Lin Yuandao's side. Yes, everything went smoothly. According to the time, Master Wu Kei and the others should have left East Park City by now, Lin Yuandao said. Before Night Sorrow took the Spacetime Pagoda, Lin Yuandao had asked Guoxiao to lead a group of people to hide in the Tianji Tower branch, so Guoxiao knew. The 7 heads of Tianji Tower had all gone through all kinds of trials and tests. They were loyal to Tianji Tower, so Lin Yuandao didn't hide anything. This little guy is a bit too cruel. Just one trip to Sky-Bearing City and he's already trapping people so miserably. If he comes a few more times, the city lord's residents will cry, Guoxiao said with a gloating smile on his face. His luck is good. In fact, some karma was formed when the Jiu family cut off Night Sorrow's foster father's arm. This is the first confrontation, but it definitely won't be the last. It's going to be very lively in the future. Lin Yuandao said. Night Sorrow, this little guy, has been tormenting himself all this time. However, the forces around him have also risen along with him. Medicine Valley went from an unknown to a superpower in the Eastern Shen region. The Eastern Shen region is also on the rise, Guoxiao said. Tianji Tower has to take some risks in order to raise him, but we can still bear them, Lin Yuandao said with a sigh. Chapter 493. Geniuses remember love in 1 second go? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. As the helmsman of the Empyrean Terminus Tower, Lin Yuandao felt pressure when he made some risky decisions. Let's not talk about this. Let's wait and see, Lin Yuandao said. Guo nodded and left. There were some things he had to arrange. Tianji Tower had to prepare for battle. Whether Qingtian City reacted or not, Tianji Tower had to be prepared. After a little more than half a day, Wu Lingfei brought the three of them to Donghua City and started the teleportation. With Wu Lingfei's help, the speed of travel increased several times. They arrived at Linhai City in Dongshan Domain in a few days. Dongshan Domain is still the best. We can teleport however we want, Night Sorrow said after handing spirit stones to the guard of the teleportation formation. Ah, this place has to be heavily guarded in the future. It's a troubled time, Wu Lingfei said. With the activation of the teleportation formation, the group teleported to Dongshan City. Dongshan City is still the most comfortable place, Yang Lei said after exiting the teleportation formation. Alright, you guys go back and rest. Aunt Fei has other things to take care of. Don't talk about this because it's very serious, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. First seat 1 inch, don't worry Aunt Fei, Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. Then Night Sorrow and the other two sat in the beast carriage and headed to Qingxing Cottage. Yishang communicated with Little Kong as he hurried along in the car. Little Kong had been furious for the past 2 days. According to Lil Kong, she was good at improving souls. With her help, Yishang's soul power could cultivate even faster. However, she had tried to rush towards Yishang's deity sea a few times, but she was blocked by the heavenly fate jewel. Xiao Kong wanted to fight with the void fate pearl, but she was no match for it every time. He's so shameless. He's so domineering even though he doesn't have any intelligence. If he can't help you cultivate your soul power, why is he still in your spirit ocean? Xiao Kong was very angry after being blocked again. Don't be angry. Isn't it the same if you stay in my Dantian? Night Sorrow communicated with Xiao Kong. I'm not convinced. I don't know what that thing is either. Xiao Kong mumbled in response. After that, Night Sorrow told Xiao Kong about the heavenly fate pearl. The supreme elemental origin of a large space is indeed powerful. I can't deal with it. After listening to Night Sorrow's explanation, Xiao Kong became obedient and gave up on the idea of snatching territory from the heavenly fate pearl. Just help me cultivate my Jin Qi. I'm also helpless about the deity ocean situation. Night Sorrow communicated with Xiao Kong. After this period of interaction, Night Sorrow learned some things about the Spacetime Pagoda. There were a total of 90 levels in the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Below the 70th level was an ordinary cultivation space, 70th to 80th level was a space with the spatial attribute, and 80th to 90th level was a space with the time attribute. With Xiao Kong's help, Night Sorrow comprehended the power of space and felt that it was very helpful to him. However, he couldn't do anything about the time attribute. The attributes were not compatible, so he couldn't absorb the power of time. Night Sorrow was very satisfied. When they were rushing, Night Sorrow tried to use the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda to suppress and kill. He directly smashed the ground a few feet deep. According to Wu Lingfei's judgment, that was the strength of a beginner supremacy's attack. However, Night Sorrow could only smash twice. This was because he had 2 types of energy in his body. The first time, it sucked up all his Jin Qi, and the second time, it sucked up all the energy of his myriad Daos treasured tome. It couldn't be helped. It was very difficult to activate a high-grade spiritual treasure. Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow that before entering the supremacy realm, unless he needed to save his life, he couldn't use the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Sikong Chiu was worried that he would get into trouble because of the treasure. The Spacetime Treasure Pagoda had another function. Night Sorrow could enter and exit the space freely, but he couldn't bring others with him unless Xiao Kong opened it. This was inconvenient during a battle. The reason why Night Sorrow was different was because his body had the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda's origin energy. The Spacetime Treasure Pagoda's artifact spirit also had his soul energy. He could enter at any time, anywhere, even during a battle. In addition, the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda could freely change its size in Night Sorrow's hands. At its smallest, it was only the size of a pinky finger. At its largest, it could be as tall as several floors. Of course, this was the extent that Night Sorrow could control it. If Xiao Kong could control it, it would be fierce. It could turn into a grain of sand or reach the clouds. However, Night Sorrow couldn't control such an extreme state even with Xiao Kong's help. In the end, it was because Night Sorrow's cultivation was too low. After returning to the mansion, Night Sorrow asked Aunt Feng to arrange for a sumptuous banquet. He hadn't seen his brothers for a long time, so he wanted to drink with them. Ho Jian and the others were very happy to see Night Sorrow return. They pulled Night Sorrow and drank with all their might. Night Sorrow liked the feeling of being brothers together. He didn't refuse anyone who came to drink with him. Night Sorrow's alcohol tolerance had been trained in Bamboo Garden Village. These people were no match for him. They drank until midnight before dispersing. After drinking, Night Sorrow entered the secret cultivation room and started cultivating. At the same time, he communicated with Shao Kong about how to help him cultivate faster. Shao Kong increased the speed of absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. She could absorb 3 kinds of energy of heaven and earth: ordinary energy, space energy, and time energy. In addition, Shao Kong told Night Sorrow that if Night Sorrow could enter the Venerable Realm, he could use the 60th to 70th floor of the Space-Time Pagoda. However, the last 20 floors were different. Not only did it require the cultivation of the Sage Realm, but it also required special attributes. The last 10 floors of the Space-Time Pagoda were treasured cultivation places that could change time. Night Sorrow didn't dare to think about it. Sage Realm? That was too far away. At present, it was hard to say whether there were any Sage Realm experts in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. Even if there were, they hadn't appeared yet. How could it be so easy to reach? The 9 regions and 18 prefectures didn't lack geniuses. After the investiture of the gods, there were many monstrous geniuses and geniuses. Wu Lingfei, Lin Yuandao, and the others when they were young, which one of them wasn't a genius? But they still hadn't entered the Sage Realm. However, Shao Kong also said that she could let Night Sorrow absorb the power of space faster to strengthen his bloodline. Normally, there was no power of space below the 70th floor. However, as a tool spirit, Shao Kong could still change it a little. In the following cultivation, Night Sorrow felt the appearance of the power of space. Moreover, it was very pure. When it entered his body, it was refined and absorbed by the power of space circulating between the 4 bloodline energy points to strengthen his body. In addition, the Space-Time Pagoda in his dantian was like a vortex, drawing the energy of heaven and earth into his body. After feeling it, Night Sorrow found that the Space-Time Pagoda assisted his cultivation much faster than using resources. Not to mention these 2 things, the Space-Time Pagoda could also absorb the milky white energy that could strengthen the soul to help Night Sorrow cultivate the power of the soul. This made Night Sorrow excited. As long as he had the Space-Time Pagoda, he could save a lot of resources. At present, except for the cultivation of the myriad Tao Tome, which the Space-Time Pagoda couldn't help, everything else was fine. Did you earn a lot after helping me? Shao Kong's voice sounded in Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Indeed. Night Sorrow replied. Chapter 494. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I will provide you with interesting novels to read. I will work hard to cultivate. Love go little say net, Chu. Night Sorrow said. I have high hopes for you. I will go cultivate as well. After saying this, Shao Kong went silent. Night Sorrow knew that Shao Kong needed to cultivate. Night Sorrow knew about the Space-Time Pagoda from their previous communication. Shao Kong did not know when the Space-Time Pagoda was forged. Shao Kong had memories of 2,000 years ago. At that time, the Space-Time Pagoda had an owner. Shao Kong, who had her own consciousness, had been hiding in the Space-Time Pagoda. After the owner died, Shao Kong did not allow anyone else to continue to recognize her as the owner. She took control of the Space-Time Pagoda herself. However, Shao Kong also knew that she was not the first artifact spirit of the Space-Time Pagoda. She had memory fragments in her body. Those were the fragments of the previous artifact spirit. Shao Kong wanted to strengthen herself now because she was still not a complete artifact spirit. She was still relatively weak. These things were not important to Night Sorrow. What was important was that the effects of the Space-Time Pagoda were strong and its attack power was fierce. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow got up and sensed his body. Then he went to the martial arts practice field to cultivate his spear arts. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, who had also cultivated for a night, went to the martial arts practice field and asked the maidservants to set breakfast aside. Night Sorrow cultivated for a while, washed up, and ate breakfast with the 2 girls. 13. You are in good shape, Yang Lei said. It's okay. Do you have enough resources? Night Sorrow asked. Not a problem. Right now, we are all using high-grade spirit stones to cultivate primary energy and soul power. 1 soul crystal can be used for a long time, Yang Lei said. Yes, we are not lacking in resources. If you need anything, just let me know, Night Sorrow said. Sikong Chiyu smiled and said, You will. We all know that you have a strong background. Chiyu, I'm very sorry. You didn't succeed this time. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chiyu apologetically. Isn't there an accident? You wanted to do this as well. No one can avoid accidents. After all, the matter of the space-time pagoda is too important. Sky-bearing city is probably going to be turned upside down. The 9 realms and 18 prefectures might all know about it. A beggar who loses his stick will become a joke in the 9 realms and 18 prefectures. Sikong Chiyu said with a smile. That's right, said Sikong Chiyu with a smile. I think they should be able to find out. It just depends on how they deal with this matter, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Night Sorrow had analyzed the situation. He had broken through the 59th floor with his cultivation base at the 4th Void Inquiry stage. He must have been marked as an important person in Sky-bearing City and would be investigated. Therefore, some things would eventually find him. However, Night Sorrow did not care about it. Using Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao's words, if they did not discover it at that time, who could prove that it was Night Sorrow who took away the Shintian Pagoda? Night Sorrow had the space-time pagoda in his hands. It had nothing to do with the Shintian Pagoda. Who was right and who was wrong? How would they judge? They would judge by strength. The one with the bigger fist would be the truth. The strength of Sky-bearing City and Jiyu clan were relative. Jiyu Fenglan could look down on others, but he had to think carefully when facing Wu Lingfei. In the past, he and the city lord of Taiyu City were not a match for her even when they joined forces. How could they do it now? Besides, before the space-time pagoda left, it gave him a hard blow, interrupting his seclusion. Not only did it cut off his path forward, but it also caused his old injuries to relapse, reducing his strength. Even he was afraid of coming to Eastern Profound region. The possibility of a realm war is not high, or rather, it is not high in the near future. Does Sky-bearing City have a chance of winning? It is impossible to start a war without a chance of winning. No one is stupid. Besides, Sky-bearing City is not something that Jiyu clan can control. There are still the elders. Sikong Chiyu said. Let's not worry about that for now. If they don't dare to start a realm war, then let's cultivate in peace. When the storm passes, we will go to Sky-bearing City and then Misty Mountain, Yang Lei said. Sunday. Edition Q0 Head Plus Unspecified Currency Hair. 9th Senior Sister. Did those 2 Thunder Attribute Crystals help you a lot? Night Sorrow asked. Very much. They strengthen my attribute power a lot. Yang Lei nodded. That's good. There are relatively few Thunder Attribute treasures. Alright, there is something good I haven't given to Chuyu yet. Night Sorrow handed the slightly damaged Saint Crystal to Sikong Chuyu. Is this the treasure that bastard from Jiyu clan wants? Sikong Chiyu said. Yes, it is a slightly damaged Saint Crystal. It should be left behind by a saint who was killed, Night Sorrow said. Another blind person, using a Saint Crystal to sell crystal stones. Not bad, Yang Lei said with a smile. What can we do? He doesn't have enough luck. Even if there is a treasure, it will just slip through his hands. Sikong Chiyu tossed the Saint Crystal a few times and put it into his storage ring. Let's go out later and pick up some scraps. Also, we don't have any more carving materials, so we can't stop cultivating, Yang Lei said. Okay, let's go after we finish eating, Night Sorrow said. What are you talking about? Wu Lingfei walked in. Nothing, we're just going out for a walk. Aunt Fei, what's the situation outside? Night Sorrow asked. What situation can there be? It's a mess. The people of Sky-bearing City have been mobilized. On one hand, they are communicating with Tianji Tower. On the other hand, they are gathering in Eastern Shen region. They are unwilling to give up, Wu Lingfei said. They really don't want to suffer a loss after being stepped on. Night Sorrow sighed. They don't understand the situation. They don't know the relationship between Eastern Shen region and Tianji Tower. They think that after communicating with Tianji Tower, they will put pressure on us and give us some benefits. They want Eastern Shen region to hand you over, Wu Lingfei said. Then what should we do? How should we deal with it? Night Sorrow asked. It's very simple. As long as they set foot in Eastern Shen region, we will kill them all. Right now, the venerables of our city lord's mansion and Tianji Tower are all in Waterfront City. Let them try. Wu Lingfei snorted coldly. Then I'll go later. If there's a battle, I can't hide in the back, Night Sorrow said. He was not someone who avoided responsibility. Actually, there might not be a battle. According to reliable sources, Jiyu Fenglan was at a critical moment in his seclusion and was hit by the space-time pagoda, causing serious injuries. Not to mention the old injuries, the foundation of his breakthrough was also destroyed. What will he use to fight us? Wu Lingfei said confidently. Then I'll go and take a look. If there's no battle, I'll take it as an eye-opener, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. That's fine. Although Jiu Fenglan's combat strength has decreased, there are still many venerables in Qingtian region. It's just that they haven't reached the level of a peak venerable. They can still bare their fangs and brandish their claws, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Chapter 495. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What's the point of baring your fangs and brandishing your claws? Victory or defeat in a region war isn't determined by the number of participants, but by the number of survivors, Wu Lingfei added when she saw that Night Sorrow still had doubts. I've troubled you again, Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow's face was full of helplessness. What he hated the most was to cause trouble for others. Don't say that. You've gained face this time. Aunt Fei doesn't have the ability. If she had the ability, she would have moved the Spacetime Pagoda back a long time ago. Whether it's Qingji Tower or Eastern Shen region, everyone will think that you've done a good job, Wu Lingfei said as she looked at Night Sorrow's immature but determined face. Qingji Tower will have to endure the suppression of the City Lord's mansion in the Qingtian region. It still caused trouble. Night Sorrow sighed. You're still young and don't understand some things. Do you think Qingji Tower and Qingtian region can coexist peacefully? In fact, if Qingtian region could drive Qingji Tower out, they would have done it long ago. Do you think they're tolerant? Wu Lingfei said. So that's how it is. I kind of understand now. Night Sorrow exhaled, his face full of astonishment. He hadn't expected it to be so cruel. Because of the ancestral teachings, Qingji Tower won't snatch territory, but they also won't passively take a beating. While defending, they're constantly weakening the strength of Qingtian region's City Lord's mansion in order to maintain a balance, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Then I'm relieved. Since that's the case, let's fight. Yishan felt a burden lifted off his shoulders. Actually, it doesn't matter whether you go or not. They just want to intimidate us and see if we're afraid. They also want to test whether Aunt Fei has recovered. If Aunt Fei hasn't recovered or if Eastern Shen region is afraid of fighting, then they've achieved their goal. Since Eastern Shen region isn't strong enough and they don't want to suffer too many losses, they can only hand you over, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Aunt Fei has recovered. It is my fortune. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow's clean and pure smile and shook her head. Every sip and every bite is natural. You've helped Aunt Fei a lot. Aunt Fei's recovery and further achievements all came from your help, so there's no such thing as luck. Night Sorrow nodded. He felt that Wu Lingfei's words made sense. If you want to go out and play, then go out and play. Don't worry about any danger. The teleportation formation in Waterfront City is guarded by sovereigns, and the border of the Realm Sea is guarded as well. No matter if they teleport or fly over, the Eastern Shen region will react immediately and not give them a chance to invade. Wu Lingfei nodded to Night Sorrow and the others. Afterwards, Night Sorrow and the others went out to buy some materials. Night Sorrow's heart was moved. He felt that he should go visit Uncle Blacksmith. He owed Uncle Blacksmith 2 favors. Even if he didn't return the favor, he should treat him to a drink. Ninth senior sister and Chuyu, go back first. I'm going to see someone. Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Seeing the 2 girls' doubtful faces, Night Sorrow said that he was going to see Uncle Blacksmith. After hearing Night Sorrow's reason, the 2 girls relaxed and returned to their residence. Night Sorrow bought some wild game to go with the wine and rode his Tianyu to the Assassin Hall. There was an old man with blurred eyes in the Assassin Hall. He was studying something through a pair of reading glasses. Little friend, if there's anything you need my help with, write it down here. Come back tomorrow and wait for the results. The old man looked at Night Sorrow and said, I'm looking for someone. Night Sorrow said, You're not looking for me, are you? Uncle Blacksmith kicked his leather shoes into the hall. Uncle, I'm here to drink with you. Night Sorrow said. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. The blacksmith waved his hand at Night Sorrow and led him around Night Sorrow, entering a courtyard behind Fatal Blow. In the courtyard, Night Sorrow saw Sister Luo and the middle-aged man. Not bad, kid. Mrs. Luo put her hands on her hips and looked at Night Sorrow. Hello, Madame Luo. Night Sorrow greets you. Night Sorrow bowed to Madame Luo. It's indeed not bad. Sit down. You can call him third brother and, Mrs. Luo said. Third brother, and Night Sorrow nodded to the middle-aged man. What's with all this nonsense? You're here, aren't you just here to drink with me? Hurry up and take it out. The blacksmith shouted at Night Sorrow. PW Yankee Jojo T Free HVC underscore read novels NQ Night Sorrow smiled and took out the wine. He also placed the game he was carrying on the table. Kit, I like that about you. You're not shy. The blacksmith opened the wine jar and began to pour the wine. After drinking for a while, Night Sorrow left. From beginning to end, Night Sorrow didn't say anything else. He just drank. Third brother, how was it? The blacksmith looked at the middle-aged man who was third brother in and asked. Very good. Let's not talk about other things. They're too dazzling and have nothing to do with us. Just say that his temperament is very rare. Some things don't need to be said, but he knows it in his heart. That's good, and Jingming said. The blacksmith uncle's name was Tai Yanglin. He was sworn siblings with sister Luo and Jingming. We've heard the news. Do you think it's true? Madame Luo looked at the blacksmith and Jingming and asked. If it's false, why would the Qingtian region send people here? They're not fools. However, they must have hit a wall this time. Lord Golden Phoenix was able to defeat them in the past. This time she'll be able to beat them until they piss their pants, the blacksmith said. We'll go and take a look later. The Qingtian region is too arrogant. Although it's not convenient for us to take action directly, we should still secretly stab a few of them to death, and Jingming said. That's right. Regardless of which force we belong to, at least the Eastern Shen region is our home. We can't tolerate someone showing off in our home, the blacksmith said with the smell of alcohol. Then what are we waiting for? Tell Mu Sha later that we're going out for a walk, Madame Luo said. When Night Sorrow returned to the mansion, it was already evening. He found that Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu had already gone to cultivate. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow walked towards Qin Zhen's room. In the courtyard in front of the room, Qin Zhen was cultivating swordsmanship. The sound of sword qi tearing through the air was constantly heard, and Qin Zhen was panting. Qin Zhen, what's wrong with you? Night Sorrow found that Qin Zhen's condition was not very good. Not only was he covered in sweat, but his eyes were also filled with loneliness. 13th brother. Qin Zhen glanced at Night Sorrow and sat down without saying anything. He was very depressed. What's going on? Night Sorrow did not understand what had happened to Qin Zhen. 13th brother, I'm not a person of the dark side and I haven't done anything wrong. However, why is my attribute dark? Qin Zhen looked up at Night Sorrow helplessly. Dark attribute? What's wrong with the dark attribute? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. Chapter 496. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What are you thinking about? The attributes of heaven and earth are balanced. Everyone has different affinity with attributes. What's wrong with that? Stand up straight. Night Sorrow yelled as he pulled on Qin Zhen's sleeve. Brother 13. Qin Zhen was stunned by Night Sorrow's yell. What's in your head? Does attributes have anything to do with good or evil? Night Sorrow stared at Qin Zhen and asked loudly. At this time the people in the courtyard had all come out. They did not know what was going on, but when they saw Night Sorrow getting angry they did not say anything. Isn't the dark attribute an evil attribute? Qin Zhen was dumbfounded by Night Sorrow's anger. Who told you that? I'm asking you who told you that. Now listen to me. Weapons, cultivation methods, attributes, these are not factors that determine good or evil. Temperament is the only proof that determines good or evil. If one's heart is righteous, even if one cultivates a dark cultivation method and kills evil people, who can say that you are evil? Think about it carefully. Night Sorrow let go of Qin Zhen and pushed him. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at Ho Jian and the others. I am responsible for this. What about you guys? Are you not responsible? Remember, take care of your brothers. This was discovered in time. Otherwise, it would have been easy for them to develop inner demons. Captain, it's our responsibility. After being reprimanded by Night Sorrow, Xueling and Ho Jian bowed. Go back and rest. Qin Zhen, think about it carefully. Night Sorrow yelled again and walked towards his secret training room. He was really angry. If he had not discovered it in time today, the problem would have been very serious. Night Sorrow was wrong to lose his temper. Please don't mind him, Yang Lei said as she watched Night Sorrow leave. Ninth senior sister, Captain is right. It's our fault. Fortunately, we didn't make any big mistakes. You're really a bastard. Let's go. Today I will teach you a lesson. Ho Jian pulled Qin Zhen towards his room. If anyone has any problems, please communicate with each other immediately. Don't let something like today happen again. We're all brothers and sisters. Night Sorrow doesn't want anything to happen to anyone, Yang Lei said. Ninth senior sister, don't worry. We understand the captain. We know that the captain is doing this for the good of everyone. It's our negligence, Xueling said. The next morning, while Night Sorrow was practicing his spear techniques, the Blood Strike Guards and the Qinji Tower team arrived at Night Sorrow's courtyard. You're all here. My attitude wasn't very good yesterday, Night Sorrow said as he put away his reincarnation spear. No, we're here to apologize to the captain. We were indeed negligent in this matter. Ho Jin and the others cupped their hands towards Night Sorrow. After Qin Jin had reached the 4th stage, he had been recruited by Qinji Tower. He was now a patrol officer, so Night Sorrow had assigned him to Qinji Tower's team. However, Qin Jin still cultivated with the Blood Strike Guards and the others, so he could be considered to have a status in both teams. Alright Qin Jin, you too. If you have any problems in the future, communicate with everyone. Don't take things for granted, Night Sorrow said to Qin Jin. 13th brother, I know I was wrong, Qin Jin said softly. That's enough. Although the situation has been very tense recently, there's nothing for us to do at the moment. Everyone should work hard and cultivate. Only with cultivation can we face all kinds of battles with ease, Night Sorrow said. Soon after, the group of people dispersed to cultivate. They were here to admit their mistakes. Night Sorrow put away his reincarnation spear and practiced a set of breaking killing fists before ending his cultivation and going to eat breakfast. 13th brother, there are some things that you can just say. There's no need to be so angry. Love Gong Xiao say, Wang Qianglei said. I was indeed a little agitated yesterday, Night Sorrow said. Some time ago the great elder and master told you to try your best to get the 8 dragon cauldrons approval. Now you don't need it at all, Yang Lei said. Yes, my space-time pagoda doesn't need the 8 dragon cauldron. However, it's still good to be able to communicate with it. After all, our Medicine Valley needs its help, Night Sorrow said. Then we'll go back and take a look when we have time. However, it will be a little later. Right now we have to deal with the situation here. Even if we can't do anything, we have to stay, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow nodded. This was a matter of attitude. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow greeted the 2 girls and told them to listen to the news. He took the teleportation array and went to Linhai City. After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. This was because there were a few experts sitting cross-legged outside the teleportation array. Kuan Nan was the leader, Dai Tianxiang, Lu Zhenyu, and 2 others that Night Sorrow didn't recognize. Greetings, elders. Yishang bowed slightly to the elders. You're here. Linhai City is not bad. Take a look around when you're free, Kuan Nan said to Night Sorrow. I'm here to fight, Night Sorrow said. They didn't attack us. Why do you want to fight? Let's find a restaurant to drink. Dai Tianxiang said. Then I'll go to the Realm Sea to take a look, Night Sorrow said. No need. Our defense is stronger there. We're ready for a full-scale battle, Kuan Nan said with a smile. Then Night Sorrow went to a restaurant beside the teleportation array. However, it was a little far from the teleportation array. Linhai City was in a pre-war state. Ordinary people had retreated from areas that could be affected by the battle. As soon as he went upstairs, Night Sorrow saw a familiar face. Qinji Tower's law enforcement elder Latrin Swan. He was drinking alone. You're here. Come and sit. Latrin Swan, who was dressed in a black robe, waved at Night Sorrow. Elder Li is here. Night Sorrow took out a jar of azure blood wine and poured Latrin Swan's empty bowl. He then poured a bowl for himself before sitting down. At last unspecified currency new chapter, section 3 under, how's your research on that thing going? Latrin Swan asked. It's going well. I'm sorry to have caused trouble for the elders. Night Sorrow raised his bowl to Latrin Swan. Trouble? The more trouble there is, the better. I'm just afraid there won't be any. Latrin Swan took a sip of wine and glared. He then took another sip. Night Sorrow got up and filled Latrin Swan's bowl again. The wine is good. Come. This time, it was Latrin Swan who raised his bowl to Night Sorrow. I'm relieved that the elders are here, Night Sorrow said. We also have people in the Realm Sea. The chief enforcer is there, and there are also people from the Eastern Xian Region's City Lord's office. You can rest assured on both sides, Latrin Swan said. Night Sorrow understands. After hearing Latrin Swan's words, Night Sorrow knew that the Eastern Xian region and Qinji Tower were ready to fight. The next step would be to see what the Qingtian region's situation would be. As they chatted and drank, Latrin Swan told Night Sorrow about the current situation. Chapter 497. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Why is the Taiwa domain willing to become cannon fodder in the war? Night Sorrow was puzzled. The relationship between the Qingtian domain and the Taiwa domain can be described in this way. The Qingtian domain used to start a domain war because they were worried that they wouldn't be able to handle it, so they dragged the Taiwa domain along. The Qingtian domain ate the meat while the Taiwa domain ate the bones. It's quite despicable, Le Trin Swan said. In other words, they are allies with mutual benefits? Night Sorrow understood the stakes involved. Yes. The Taiwa domain is the weakest domain among the 9. If they don't ally with the Qingtian domain will attack them. They can't handle it, so as time passed they became despicable, Le Trin Swan said. What about their strength? Night Sorrow asked. Apart from Master Wu Kei, the Taiwa domain is about the same as the Eastern Shen domain. However, with Master Wu Kei around, 2 Taiwa domains won't be able to do anything, Le Trin Swan said. I understand. If they can't stand on their own 2 feet, they won't be able to develop much, Night Sorrow said. That's right. Even if they fall behind and get beaten, they have to have a backbone. Without a backbone they might as well die. Le Trin Swan nodded at Night Sorrow. At this moment, the Qingtian Domain City Lord Mansion had led all the clans and sects of the Qingtian Domain to East Smoke City. The people of the Taiwa Domain were also gathering. Le Trin Swan also explained the situation in the Eastern Shen Domain. Currently, the Domain C was filled with the members of the Eastern Shen Domain and the Tianji Tower. If the other side started a war, they would immediately seal the teleportation formation and move the battlefield to the edge of the Domain C. They won't rely on the teleportation formation to attack us, right? Night Sorrow was worried that if they couldn't seal the teleportation formation, the other side would continue to teleport over. That's impossible. If it's a sneak attack, they can use the teleportation formation to sneak over. But now that we're in a stalemate, they won't have a chance to sneak over. As for those who came before us, we can seal the teleportation formation instantly or destroy it. Master Wu Kei has already made arrangements. Master Tianji Tower. That's good. I feel more at ease now that you've said that, Yi Shan said with a smile. We have to be steadfast. If they attack, there are only 2 routes, Waterfront City and the Realm Sea. We have to fight our way through. Yes, we can penetrate their hinterland at any time. Master Wuk wants to cripple the Taiwa domain and take East Smoke City. That way, Waterfront City will be in our hands, and they won't be able to enter the Eastern Profound region. Le Trin Swan said. These things were absolute secrets of Tianji Tower and Eastern Shen region. However, Night Sorrow could be considered an absolute upper echelon of Tianji Tower. He didn't hide anything. Night Sorrow was stunned. This method was too heaven-defying. It was simply unimaginable. In other words, if Eastern Shen region wanted to, they could only attack others. Others couldn't attack them even if they wanted to. Let them fight first. Once they've suppressed their arrogance, we'll counterattack, Le Trin Swan said. Then you must inform me, Night Sorrow said. Okay. If you have nothing to do, just stay in Tianji Tower's Linhai City branch. The war will probably break out soon. I haven't fought for many years. Now is a good time to stretch my muscles, Le Trin Swan said. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow bid farewell to Le Trin Swan and went to Tianji Tower's branch. He planned to rest in Tianji Tower's branch and wait for the war to break out. In Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw many people. He didn't know them, but he couldn't see the cultivation of most of them. Love Gong Little Say Chu. These people bowed to Night Sorrow when they saw him. The mask he wore represented his identity and status. Celestial emissaries had to be respected in Tianji Tower. The staff arranged a room for Night Sorrow on the top floor of Tianji Tower. When he was about to enter the room, Night Sorrow saw a woman come out of another room. The woman was also wearing a mask. The mask was exactly the same as Night Sorrow's. You are? The woman wearing the Celestial Fate mask asked. Night Sorrow. May I ask who you are? Night Sorrow reported his name. I'm Ling Long, the woman said. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to the woman and entered the room. Ling Long didn't say anything as she looked at Night Sorrow's back. She walked to the edge of the pavilion and looked at Linhai City. The situation was turbulent. The higher-ups of Tianji Tower felt that the Eastern Shen region's Tianji Tower was even safer than the headquarters. Therefore they arranged for Celestial Fate envoy Ling Long, who needed protection, to be sent to the Eastern Shen region. It wasn't that the headquarters of Tianji Tower wasn't safe. It was just that the general environment wasn't as safe as the Eastern Shen region. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that in the past few days, Tianji Tower had transferred some people from the other 8 regions. They planned to completely establish the Eastern Xian region's unshakable position this time. At the same time, they wanted to cripple the Taiyue region. This way, Tianji Tower's development in the Eastern Xian region would be smooth. Original X First L** release. After entering the room, Night Sorrow sat down and cultivated. When he met another Celestial Fate envoy from Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow was very surprised. However, he didn't feel that anything was wrong. On the 3rd day of Night Sorrow's arrival in Linhai City, Wu Lingfei arrived and directly went to the room where Night Sorrow was meditating. "Aunt Fei, you're here." Night Sorrow stood up and greeted her. "According to the news, the battle will break out tomorrow. As for what kind of battle it will be, it's hard to say," said Wu Lingfei. "Mistress Wu Kei, our East Smoke City's teleportation formation crystal has dimmed. It seems that they've already shut it down. They don't plan on letting us teleport over. This seat has also ordered people to shut down the teleportation formation. This way the battle can only take place in the Realm C." Latrin Swan walked in with Ling Long. Ling Long greets Mistress Wu Quebec. Ling Long bowed to Wu Lingfei. "Night Sorrow, let me introduce you. This is our other Celestial Fate envoy from Tianji Tower. You can call her senior sister Ling Long. Ling Long, this is Night Sorrow. You should know about his situation. Take care of him in the future." Wu Lingfei introduced Ling Long and Night Sorrow to each other. "Mistress Wu Kei, rest assured." Ling Long bowed. "The two of you don't need to participate in the battle this time. However, you still need to experience this kind of battle. This seat has already told Chief Enforcer and Supervisor Lan that if they don't participate in the battle, they'll protect you," said Wu Lingfei. "Mistress Fei, I can't kill sovereigns, but I can still kill those below sovereigns," said Night Sorrow. "Killing enemies can be done at any time, but this kind of great battle is rare because there are supreme experts of various attributes. Look at how they fight, look at the supreme skills of various attributes. This is a rare opportunity." Wu Lingkai shook his head. "Yes, there are many opportunities to kill enemies but not many opportunities to gain experience. Tianji Tower has many sovereigns. We want you to become invincible in the same realm, so gaining experience is very important. Put yourself in their shoes and see how you deal with it," said Latrin Swan. Night Sorrow and Ling Long nodded. Chapter 498. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Some distance away from the Realm C there were many large tents. Although he did not see anyone, Night Sorrow could feel an oppressive aura. Then the group of people went to the big tent in the middle. There were many people in the tent, including the Eastern Xian Region City Lord Manor's Protector Elder Kuan Nan, Grand Commander Qin Nan, and several other Grand Elders. There were even more people in Tianji Tower. Li Chang Tian, Lei Hua Yin Shui, and Ho Yuan were all present. Lei Hua's identity is known to all of you. Not only is he the law enforcement elder of the City Lord's mansion, but he is also the Deputy Palace Master of Tianji Tower. This seat is the same. This seat came a little late in the last Realm War, and as a result the old City Lord died from serious injuries. This seat took over the City Lord's position. Because I am still the Deputy Palace Master of Tianji Tower, I have not revealed my identity. This subordinate understands. Everyone in the tent stood up, including Latrin Swan and Li Chang Tian. They knew that Wu Lingfei's announcement meant that she no longer had a knot in her heart. "Alright, then tell me the details of the mission." Wu Lingfei then began to assign tasks. First was Chief Enforcer Li Chang Tian. His mission was to protect Night Sorrow and Exquisite. Li Changfeng cupped his hands and accepted the order. The safety of the 2 Heavens Fate emissaries was a big deal, and it was a big deal for Tianji Tower. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. It had been many years since Tianji Tower had produced a member who had completely passed the Heaven Pole 5-star assessment. In the past, it had been a combination of 3-star and 4-star assessments. There hadn't been anyone who had truly passed the 5-star assessment in recent years. The appearance of Night Sorrow and Exquisite meant the future of Tianji Tower and an era, so they had to be protected. Following this, it was time to make arrangements for the battle. In order to avoid too many casualties, Wu Lingfei decided to send out the most powerful forces and directly slaughter the enemies before sending out the rest. After making arrangements, Li Chang Tian and Lan Yuxuan took Yi Shang and Ling Long to walk around the tents. Night Sorrow couldn't see through the cultivation levels of the people he saw. Some of them were from the City Lord's mansion, while others were from Tianji Tower. Chief Protector, why is everyone's cultivation base so high? Aren't there any low-level battles? Knight Sorrow asked in surprise. Do you think the regional war is a war for everyone? Actually, that was not the case. Low-level cultivators were not of much use in a realm war. Besides, neither side was willing to kill low-level cultivators. It was enough to control the situation by killing the higher-ups of the other side. Low-level cultivators were resources. If they were killed, what was the point of seizing territory? Actually, it's just a battle between venerable realm experts. A little lower would be the late void inquiry stage. Li Changtian said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He felt a little rueful because he couldn't even meet the minimum requirement to participate. After walking around, they returned to the tent. At this moment, there was no tense atmosphere in the tent. While everyone was meditating, a man entered the tent. Mistress Wuxia, they have already set off. There are 2 airships in the sky, but I don't know the exact number of people. This subordinate didn't get too close. The man said. Alright, they have already set off. It will take them about half a day to get here. Let's prepare for the battle. Once the battle begins, Elder Kuan Nan will activate the formation and not give them a chance to escape. Wu Lingfei said. Knight Sorrow knew that a great battle was coming, but he wasn't worried because the people gathered here were too strong. Wu Lingfei, Letrin Swan and Li Changtian were the true giants. Although Li Changtian didn't participate in the battle, his deterrence was still there. Lei Hua, Kuan Nan, Yin Shui, Ho Yuan, and Qi Nan were also experts. Knight Sorrow's emotions were a little complicated. He was a little worried as he looked forward to it. In the afternoon, rumbling sounds could be heard in the sky above the realm's sea, and 2 huge warships appeared. The ship was very fast. It passed through the sky above the realm's sea and arrived in front of the Eastern Xian region's camp. Latest 9 New D Chapter 50 above CJ. Then, 30 people flew out of the ship, and the ship was taken away. Jiyu Fenglan, Li Fengyu, you 2 really dared to come. It's a little different from what I expected. I thought you would send some cannon fodder to test the depth. Since you've come, don't go back this time. Wu Lingfei's body shook and the Golden Phoenix soft armor appeared on her body. Golden Phoenix, what's the point of fighting head-on? As long as you hand over the Xintian Tower, we will retreat now. A man with long gray hair and a sharp face said with a fierce aura. Jiyu Fenglan, you can't retreat just because you want to. Last time both sides suffered. This time it won't happen again. And Li Fengyu, I also admire you for daring to come. Then let's fight. After saying this, Wu Lingfei soared into the sky. A pale green halo appeared on her body. Then a sparkling and translucent longsword appeared and shot towards Jiyu Fenglan. Life attribute, you've completely recovered. Jiyu Fenglan's body flashed and retreated. It's too late to know now. Wu Lingfei waved the longsword in her hand, and sword light shot towards Jiyu Fenglan. At this time Wu Lingfei's attack speed was extremely fast. Jiyu Fenglan couldn't dodge, so he put up a protective chi shield. It was a yellow protective chi shield. How is this possible? You were hit by my earth-oscillating fist back then. It's impossible to recover the loss of blood and chi. Jiyu Fenglan roared while defending. You're a half-cripple with shrunken meridians. How dare you be arrogant in my eastern profound region? Today I'll kill you. Life chain. Wu Lingfei roared out while countless light green chains appeared in the air, directly trapping Jiyu Fenglan's khaki-colored defensive light screen and himself inside it. Rule power half-step Saint Realm. How can you master the power of rule? Jiyu Fenglan roared hysterically. In the past, when Jiyu Fenglan fought Wu Lingfei alone, although he was at a disadvantage he could still hold on. But now Jiyu Fenglan couldn't hold on at all. They weren't on the same level at all. I'm sorry. You're not improving and even regressing. But I'm improving. So you've come to the wrong place to attack my eastern profound region. Today your people won't be leaving. Wu Lingfei's life chain tightened, completely suppressing Jiyu Fenglan. At this time, other people were also fighting. Letrin Swan and Li Fengyu were fighting. Letrin Swan was stronger than Li Fengyu, but it was impossible for him to end the battle quickly. After all, Li Fengyu was also the #1 figure of Taiyue region. In the battle of other venerables, Eastern Profound Region and Tianji Tower also had the upper hand. No, Eastern Profound Region isn't so strong. You're from Tianji Tower. I refuse to accept this, I refuse to accept this. Break for me. Jiyu Fenglan knew that something was wrong. After ruling Qingtian region for so many years, his wisdom was not low. After roaring, A blood-red light appeared in Jiyu Fenglan's protective qi shield. Unable to withstand Wu Lingfei's attack, he used a secret skill and burned his blood essence to resist. Don't you think it's too late? Wu Lingfei snorted coldly. Her life chain continued lashing out. At the same time, she waved her hand and sent out a sword to the side, cutting a venerable who came to help Jiyu Fenglan in half from head to toe. Chapter 499. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Bang. Along with a muffled boom, Jiyu Fenglan's body was sent flying away by Wu Ling concubine's mysterious jade hand. His entire body was covered in ice cubes and was almost frozen. Jiyu and Fenglan were sent flying back to the realm sea. Then, with a miserable groan, Jiyu Fenglan shattered the ice. Next, a flying ship appeared. Jiyu Fenglan screamed and entered the flying ship. He screamed because the laws of the realm sea were attacking his spirit sea. Wu Lingfei couldn't enter the realm sea. Even if she did, she would have to face the attacks of the laws against the divine sea. She directly sent out several sword lights to attack the flying ships in the sky. However, the ships still managed to escape. Jiyu Fenglan, remember this. From now on you can only be a coward. The next time I see you I will kill you. Wu Lingfei shouted at the flying ship, then turned around and charged towards the supremacies from the Qingtian domain and Taiyue domain. J Original Version W. Release plus ice space, life chain, mysterious jade hand, sword chi chop. Wu Ling concubine used all her killing moves. Even Jiyu and Fenglan couldn't withstand it, so the other warriors could only be killed. Right now this was Wu Lingfei's battlefield. After using frozen space and life chains to control her, mysterious jade hands and sword chi slash were her killing moves. Love Gon Little Seika, Ice Attribute, Life Attribute. After a period of time, Lord Wu Kei's strength has soared again. She's half a step into the Saint Realm. She's destined to dominate an era. Li Changtian looked at the battlefield with some emotion. Right now, the battlefield was a one-sided slaughter. The venerables of the Eastern Shen region and Tianji Tower only needed to pin down their opponents, while Wu Lingfei reaped their lives. So domineering. Exquisite said with some emotion. Her eyes under the mask followed Wu Lingfei's figure. Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei, whose hair and dress were fluttering in the wind, and was greatly shocked. This was an invincible being. Killing venerables was as easy as pie. The battle had only been going on for an hour, and only Li Fengyu was left. There was blood on Li Fengyu's body and his hair was messy. Lu Trin Swan retreated because he knew that Wu Lingfei and Li Fengyu still had old scores to settle. Li Fengyu, you didn't expect this day, did you? Back then you were willing to be a lackey of the Qingtian region. I was too weak, so I could only fight until both sides suffered. But this time the result is different, said Wu Lingfei. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. I accept my fate, but I didn't expect Tianji Tower to participate in such a battle, Li Fengyu said as blood flowed from his shoulder. Li Fengyu, in fact, we are just here to wave the flag and shout. Golden Phoenix alone is not someone you can contend against. It's just that the Eastern Profound region will suffer some losses. The ones who will lose will still be you. Lu Trin Swan said with a smile. Indeed, if I don't defeat you, Golden Phoenix, I won't be able to enter the Eastern Xian region. I also admit that I'm not your opponent, so there's no need to continue fighting. I'm unwilling, really unwilling. Li Fengyu's eyes were filled with desolation. That was the desolation of an expert. What else are you unwilling to accept? You became a lackey of the Qingtian region and an accomplice of Jiyu Fenglan. How can you still be unwilling? Wu Lingfei roared. Jiyu Fenglan is not worthy. Fine. Golden Phoenix, let me remind you that the Qingtian region's strength isn't what it seems to be. I, Li Fengyu, am not a spineless person. I was just forced to do this for the sake of the Taiyue region. Li Fengyu slashed his own neck. I, Li Fengyu, am sad and helpless. Perhaps you, Golden Phoenix, can help me vent my anger. Li Fengyu fell down after saying that. What's going on? Lu Trin Swan said with furrowed brows. He meant that he had no choice. It seems that there are still things we don't know about the Qingtian region, Wu Lingfei said after thinking for a moment. Although Li Fengyu can't be called an invincible venerable, he is still a big shot. We still underestimated the Qingtian region to be able to make him submit, Lu Trin Swan said. Let's not worry about that for now. Let's take down the East Smoke City and then take control of it. Lei Hua, you make full arrangements. I have to take that step. Otherwise, I won't be able to deal with some things, Wu Lingfei said. Don't worry, Mistress Wu. I don't have anything else to do. I will take care of things with Lei Hua. You can go about your business. Latrin Swan said. Based on Li Fingyu's words, everyone guessed that the Qingtian region had experts stronger than Jiyu Fenglin. That's good. Inform the Chief K-Master about this. Our peak combat strength must be improved. Only then can we face the coming storm, Wu Lingfei said. Okay. Latrin Swan nodded. Lei Hua Yin Shui take people to clean up the battlefield. Take 1/3 of the resources from the City Lord Mansion, 1/3 from the Tianji Tower, and the other 1/3 for Elder Li. Bury their corpses. Li Fengyu is a famous figure. Set up a monument for him, Wu Lingfei said. Wu Lingfei left after that. She felt that something was wrong. Only a saint could make Li Fengyu submit. At the very least he was a half-step saint. Taiyue region became the Qingtian region's lackey a few hundred years ago. At that time the Qingtian region already had a saint or a half-step saint. It was a big deal. After a few hundred years, who knew what realm he was at now? Then, some people cleaned up the battlefield. Some people made arrangements for the next battle. You too, what do you think? Li Changtian looked at Night Sorrow and Ling Long and asked. Strong. Tragic. Lord Wu Kei is too strong. If she just fought and didn't run, she could kill a group of them. Nearly 30 venerables died just like that. It's too tragic. Ling Long said. Night Sorrow, what do you think? Li Changtian looked at Night Sorrow. The strong are respected. Only those with big fists can control the situation. If Aunt Fei doesn't have the strength, then our eastern Xian region will definitely suffer a very serious blow. It's hard to say who is buried in the ground, said Yishang. You've seen the elemental battle skills of those venerables. In the future you should know how to defend and how to break them. They use their lives to show it. It's the essence. Li Changtian said. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Li Changtian. Ling Long also bowed. The celestial terminus emissaries had a high status, but they were also the descendants and successors of Tianji Tower. You two go back and do what you need to do. This has nothing to do with you. You don't need to worry. Li Changtian said. Where should I go? Ling Long asked. Do as you see fit. Anywhere is fine. Night Sorrow, you know. Arrange it for him. Li Changtian said. Chapter 500. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Senior sister Ling Long, please? Night Sorrow said to Ling Long after listening to Li Changtian's arrangement. Then I'll have to trouble you, junior brother Yi, Ling Long said. Alright, don't be so polite. Let's go back. Li Changtian said. Night Sorrow and Ling Long arrived at the teleportation array in Linhai City. The teleportation array in Linhai City only closed the one leading to Taiyue region's Dongyan City. It did not affect Dongshan City. Then the two teleported to Dongshan City. I always thought that Dongshan region was very backward. Fortunately, it's still better than Taiyue region, Ling Long said. I'll first bring senior sister Ling Long to my mansion to familiarize herself with it. Then I'll send senior sister Ling Long to the Celestial Peak Tower branch. That way, senior sister Ling Long can find me if anything happens, Yishang said. Then Night Sorrow released Tianyu, and Ling Long released a silver sparrow without a single strand of mixed feathers. When the two arrived in the sky above Qingxin Cottage, Night Sorrow said to Ling Long, This is my mansion. If you need anything you can come here. Ling Long nodded and did not say anything. Then Night Sorrow brought Ling Long to the Tianji Tower branch and found Jiao Qing. Jiao Qing arranged for Ling Long to stay in a courtyard behind Tianji Tower and left. Love Go Xiao say W. Choose senior sister Ling Long, here's some tea and wine. If you need anything just call me. Night Sorrow took out a pot of tea and 2 jars of wine and jumped on Tianyu's back. Junior brother Yi, sometimes when a guest arrives, you have to invite them in, Ling Long said when she saw Night Sorrow get on Tianyu's back. Standing behind Tianyu, Night Sorrow was stunned. He had not thought about this before. Night Sorrow felt that only acquaintances should be invited into the house. Seeing Exquisite wave her hand, Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu and left. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that he had made Exquisite think too much. It was easy for Exquisite to think that he was rejecting people. Night Sorrow also felt that there was no need to explain. Home was a warm place and of course they would receive acquaintances. After returning to the mansion, Ho Jian and the others surrounded him. Captain, what's the situation now? Can you guys let me drink a glass of water first? Night Sorrow looked at Ho Jian and the others and asked. Captain, drink some water first. Ho Jian took the tea that Yang Lei brewed and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. Seeing Night Sorrow drink the water, Yang Lei said, "I saw Tianyu above the mansion just now. Why did he leave?" Night Sorrow then explained why he had left after returning home, and the situation at the Realm Sea battlefield. Lord K dominated the battle alone, forcing the Sky-bearing City's City Lord to flee and forcing the Taiwa City's City Lord to commit suicide. "That's too ruthless," Ho Jian said with some surprise. "Yes, that scene was very shocking. I couldn't imagine it if I hadn't seen it." Night Sorrow nodded. "Captain, if you don't have the qualifications to participate, then we have even less of a chance. It seems that we still have to work hard." Ho Jian's face was full of regret. Then everyone dispersed. The news that Night Sorrow brought back shocked everyone. Most IH News/M Chapter T Section YGK Intersection C20 to 30 Venerables died in a single realm war. That was too terrifying. Even the total number of Venerables in the Eastern Shen region did not reach that number. Night Sorrow got up and went to the observation tower. However, he did not see Wu Lingfei in the tower. Night Sorrow did not see her. After returning to the main building, Night Sorrow chatted with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. "What you said means that the Qingtian region was already a peerless expert hundreds of years ago." "Ai Go Xiao Sei Wang," Sikong Chuyu said after hearing what Night Sorrow said to Li Fenyu before his death. "Is it possible that his lifespan has already reached its end?" Yang Lei asked. "It's almost impossible. Void Inquiry stage experts have a lifespan of 500 years while Venerables have a lifespan of 800 years. This is not absolute. First of all, it has to do with one's attributes. Water, life and death attributes can increase one's lifespan. Take 13 for example. Other Void Inquiry stage experts have a lifespan of 500 years, but he has a lifespan of 500 years. His qi and blood are churning and his essence qi is emitting smoke of several zhang *3, 33 m per zhang. His lifespan will be longer than ordinary Venerables." Sikong Chuyu said. "If he doesn't die, it will be a problem. This is really a chaotic world." Yang Lei said with a sigh. "The most important thing is to have a peerless expert. If a Venerables were to appear now, they would be able to sweep across the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. They would definitely be able to suppress an era. However, according to Aunt Fei, Venerables wouldn't dare to appear easily." Night Sorrow said. "Venerables are invincible. Once they appear, they will be able to sweep across the world. Why wouldn't they dare to appear?" Yang Lei asked in puzzlement. "Because low-level Venerables are just materials. Saint Crystals can allow Venerables to enter the Venerables realm. If they are killed, they will become the foundation for others to advance. Who knows what's going on in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures? You are a Venerables. If you appear now, what about stronger Venerables?" Night Sorrow looked at the 2 ladies and said, "There's always a higher mountain. It's really hard to say." Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu both nodded. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. He was currently at the 5th level of the Void Inquiry stage. However, he knew that Ling Long was at the 8th level of the Void Inquiry stage. There was a gap of 3 levels between them. Therefore he had to work harder. For the next few days, Night Sorrow stayed at home and cultivated. With the help of the Time and Space Treasure Pagoda, Night Sorrow was able to save a lot of resources. Moreover, his cultivation speed did not fall behind. After Night Sorrow cultivated for half a month, Wu Lingfei returned with Ling Long. "Night Sorrow, this is your fault. How could you just leave Ling Long alone in Tianji Tower?" Wu Lingfei said while walking towards the tower. "I'm sorry. I've been a little busy with my cultivation recently." Night Sorrow looked at Ling Long apologetically. After entering the tower, Wu Lingfei sat down. She also asked Night Sorrow and Ling Long to sit down. "Aunt Fei, are you different now?" Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei and asked. "I've broken through. Also, there's one more thing I want to tell you. Venerables have really appeared in the Qingtian region. However, it depends on who is stronger. The battle will be held half a month later at the border of the Eastern Profound Region's Realm Sea. If I lose, the 2 of you will have to go into seclusion with the higher-ups of Tianji Tower. You can only come out when you can resist the Venerables or when you receive the news of the Venerables of the Qingtian region." Wu Lingfei said. "There's really a Venerables in the Qingtian region?" Night Sorrow stood up in surprise. "Yes. His nickname is Venerables Supporting Heaven. There was a person called Venerables Supporting Heaven in the past. He should have advanced. He has already sent a letter of challenge to the Tianji Tower. He said that he wants to test Aunt Fei's unrivaled combat power." Wu Lingfei said. "Shameless. When he sent the letter of challenge, Master Wu Kei was still a venerables. He's just a venerables. He has no bottom line. Ling Long was a little angry. It doesn't matter. Because of the pressure, Aunt Fei has also broken through. It's still unknown who will win. However, we have to make more plans. If Aunt Fei loses, Qinji Tower will go into seclusion and develop secretly. The eastern profound region will also fall, Wu Lingfei said. Ling Long and Night Sorrow didn't say anything because they couldn't do anything about the situation. Chapter 501. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Don't worry, Auntie Fei. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. Ling Long will remember your teachings. Ling Long nodded. After leaving Wu Lingfei's tower, Night Sorrow was very worried. In Night Sorrow's heart, Wu Lingfei was not just the branch master of Qinji Tower and Dongshan City's city lord, she was also his family. What are you thinking about? Don't tell me you don't even plan to receive guests? Ling Long looked at Night Sorrow and said, Auntie Feng, arrange a guest room for this young lady. Treat her well. She is no different from family. He just happened to see Auntie Feng and told her. After looking at Night Sorrow, Ling Long and Auntie Feng went to look at the guest room. After standing in place for a while, Night Sorrow communicated with Xiao Kong, asking if Xiao Kong could help him and lend it to Wu Lingfei for a while. You are very brave. Aren't you afraid that she won't return it to you? However, the situation is so serious. If I don't help you once your Auntie Fei is defeated, you will definitely complain to me. Besides, as long as I don't agree, no one will be able to take her away from me. Xiao Kong said. With Xiao Kong's approval, Yi Shang returned to concubine Wu Lingfei's observation tower. Why are you back? Are you worried about Auntie Fei? It's fine. Even if he is not a match, it will not be easy for him to win. This is the foundation of a high-level attribute. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. I believe Auntie Fei, but I am still worried, so Auntie Fei can use this first. Night Sorrow waved his hand and took the space-time treasure pagoda. Auntie Fei cannot use this. A spirit treasure that recognizes its master cannot be used by others. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She was very happy because Night Sorrow really cared about her. In the past, no one had thought of her so seriously. Auntie Fei, I talked to Xiao Kong. She is willing to help me. Night Sorrow said. Little Kong? Wu Lingfei was stunned. It's the space-time treasure pagoda's artifact spirit. Auntie Fei, you can try it first, Night Sorrow said anxiously. He was worried that Wu Lingfei would reject him. All right. Wu Lingfei took the space-time pagoda from Night Sorrow's hands. The space-time treasure pagoda shook in Wu Lingfei's hand before stabilizing. After that, Wu Lingfei closed her eyes and communicated with Xiao Kong. After a while, Wu Lingfei opened her eyes. Very good. Aunt Fei is more confident now. To put it bluntly, even if she is not a match for him, it would be difficult for him to kill Aunt Fei. Since Auntie Fei is confident, I am relieved. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. I'm very confident. The space-time pagoda specializes in defense. Furthermore, Auntie Fei is a life attribute cultivator. Even if she is injured, she will need only a short amount of time to recover. If the opponent is strong, then we'll just have to fight a battle of attrition, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. That's great. Night Sorrow clenched his left hand into a fist and punched his right palm. Being able to help Wu Lingfei made him feel very gratified. After hearing Wu Lingfei's words, he felt even more confident. Alright, don't worry. Aunt Fei will go to the mountain in the north of the city and communicate with the space-time pagoda, Wu Lingfei said as she stood up. Most New Chapters Section B. Why after Wu Lingfei left, Night Sorrow returned to the secret room to cultivate. Without the space-time treasure pagoda's assistance, Night Sorrow could only use his origin spirit liquid and soul crystals. Of course, he had been using the black tortoise crystal all this time because the space-time treasure pagoda could not help him cultivate the myriad Daos treasured tome. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow went to the courtyard to cultivate his spear arts. The masked Ling Long also watched from the side. However, Night Sorrow did not mind. After Night Sorrow cultivated for a while, the Sikong Chiyu brewed a pot of tea for Night Sorrow and called for Night Sorrow to rest. Senior Sister Ling Long, these two are my fiancés. They are also the supervisors of Tianji Tower. If it's convenient for you, you can sit down and have a cup of tea. If it's not convenient. Night Sorrow did not know what to say. He could not say that it was not convenient for her to watch them drink tea. We're all from Tianji Tower. There's no need to avoid arousing suspicion. Ling Long took off her mask. After glancing at Ling Long, Night Sorrow gestured for her to sit. Ling Long had a beautiful face and a pair of spirited eyes. The only difference was that she had a head of golden hair. After drinking the tea, Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear arts. Night Sorrow was now practicing his spear arts. He was either practicing his moves or following his heart. He was searching for the feeling of being one with the spear. He wanted to be one with the spear, and the spear is a part of his body. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu also began to practice. The two of them fought fiercely. Both of them had the same level of cultivation and strength. Only when they fought with all their strength would they be able to increase their strength. In the past, Sikong Chuyu had advanced to sky blue, and her water attribute was stronger. However, Yang Lei had used a thunder attribute crystal to strengthen her attribute. Her combat strength had caught up. Aren't you afraid of them getting hurt? Ling Long asked Night Sorrow, who had stopped cultivating. I'm afraid. However, injuries can be healed. If their combat strength increases, they will be able to avoid some risks in life and death battles in the future. Night Sorrow said. You're right. Getting hurt now is much better than getting hurt in a real battle. Ling Long nodded and left. She also needed to cultivate. Moreover, she was worried. Night Sorrow's heart was very calm. After lending the space-time pagoda to Wu Lingfei, he was confident that as long as Wu Lingfei remained undefeated, everything would be fine. However, Ling Long's heart was different. In Ling Long's heart, if the Tianji Tower and Eastern Xian region were suppressed by the Qingtian region in terms of peak experts, then the Tianjin Tower could only secretly confront the Qingtian region. It could even be said that the various branches would have to be removed. If the Qingtian region was eliminated, then the losses would be great. The Eastern Xian region would also fall. Just as Wu Lingfei had said, she could sweep through the assassination hall's branches in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. If she couldn't deal with the sky-raising saint of the Qingtian region, then the situation would be reversed. Night Sorrow cultivated every day. At night he cultivated his foundation. During the day he cultivated his spear arts, movement arts and fist arts. Ling Long also came over every day. Although he knew that she was worried, Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He also didn't want to tell anyone about the space-time pagoda. After another cultivation session, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. You heartless person. Aren't you worried? Ling Long asked as she looked at Night Sorrow, who was wiping his sweat. I'm not worried because I have confidence in Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow said. All right. You win. Ling Long felt helpless towards Night Sorrow's words. However, she couldn't refute it. Are you used to living here? Night Sorrow changed the topic. Used to it? If I say I'm not used to it, won't you kick me out? Ling Long glanced at Night Sorrow. Senior sister Ling Long, you have a lot of resentment towards me. I didn't invite you in the first time because I felt that home is a warm place. I only entertain friends and family or at least acquaintances. Night Sorrow said. I understand. It makes sense. Ling Long said. Night Sorrow nodded. After drinking the tea, he continued cultivating. He cultivated the Annihilation Fist art and the mysterious Jade Hands. As his body strength increased, his body became a weapon. Night Sorrow could now cultivate the last stage of the Heaven Covering Hand. However, Night Sorrow planned to wait. The Heaven Covering Hand required too much energy. Chapter 502. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Is that okay? I'm afraid I'll be scolded. Baidu search Love Gong Xiao Shua www.ichuxs.com, Night Sorrow said. You're a man, what are you afraid of? The Battle of the Saints is rare. If you don't witness it, you'll regret it in the future, Ling Long said. That works too. If you're not afraid, why should I be? If the chief enforcer and the others reprimanded me, they would be reprimanding you, the senior sister. Night Sorrow said with a smile. You still want to trick me? Let's go. Ling Long said. Night Sorrow greeted the others and brought Ling Long to the teleportation formation. They teleported to Waterfront City and arrived at the camp at the edge of the Realm Sea. Normally speaking, since the Realm War had ended, those who should have retreated should have retreated. The Realm Sea battlefield should have calmed down. But that wasn't the case. There were still many people here who were here to cheer for Wu Lingfei. In addition, Night Sorrow didn't know that Tianji Tower was prepared to fight to the death. Even if they had to use people and venerables, they had to fight Skyscraping Saint. This was to fight for a chance for Tianji Tower. Once Skyscraping Saint won, the problem would be serious. It would be a disadvantage that no venerables could recover from. In the middle tent, Night Sorrow saw Lin Yuandao, who was wearing a golden mask, and a woman wearing a golden mask. Nonsense. Why are you here? Don't you know how dangerous this place is? Lin Yuandao shouted at Night Sorrow and Exquisite. Since junior brother Night wants to broaden his horizons, Ling Long will accompany him. Ling Long did not hesitate to throw Night Sorrow out. Scam, very scam. Night Sorrow recalled Exquisite's words. He wondered who was trying to trick who. Now he was the one who was being tricked. Although it's a little reckless, it's a good idea. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. Lin Yuandao patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Spirited eyes. His soul power foundation is very strong. His blood energy is surging. His body has reached a very high level of maturity, said the golden masked woman. I didn't introduce her to you. This is Deputy Chief K Lord Tai Shu Yen. Lin Yuandao introduced her to Night Sorrow and Exquisite. Night Sorrow greets Vice Palace Master Tai Shu. Night Sorrow bowed. Ling Long greets Vice Palace Master Tai Shu. Ling Long also bowed in greeting. She was the Celestial Pole emissary before Night Sorrow, but she had only been to a few of the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. She had never seen the 2 palace lords before. Our Tianji Tower has a successor. With you 2 Celestial Terminus envoys and the other Celestial Terminus 4 stars and 3 star Celestial Terminus examinees, even if we die in battle, there won't be any problems in the future, Tai Shu Yen said. Yes, we have a successor. We don't have to worry about dying in battle. Elderly, I'll leave the task of protecting and nurturing them to you, Lin Yuandao said to Lutrin Swan. Lutrin Swan nodded with a solemn expression. He knew that Lin Yuandao was entrusting him. If everyone died in battle, then he would be responsible for nurturing Night Sorrow and Exquisite, and once again develop Tianji Tower. Don't be so pessimistic. This seat won't necessarily lose. The tent opened and Wu Lingfei wearing a golden mask walked in. Junior Marshal Sister Wu. Lin Yuandao greeted. Senior Marshal Sister Wu, long time no see. Tai Shu Yen cupped her hands to Wu Lingfei. No need to be so polite. Night Sorrow gave me his treasure. This way this seat will have enough confidence. It won't be so easy for Skyscraping Saint to win, said Wu Lingfei. This is great. After being stunned for a moment, Lin Yuandao said excitedly. So, don't be so pessimistic. This seat has the ability to protect myself. If we fight to the death, then he won't have it easy. Even if this seat can't do it, he won't be able to escape from your encirclement, said Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei's words indicated 2 possible outcomes of the battle. The first was that neither side could do anything to the other, so they would stop when it was about time. The second was that they would fight to the death. Wu Lingfei had the ability to heavily injure her opponent. In that case, Saint Sky Raising wouldn't be able to withstand the joint attack of the Eastern Xian regions and Empyrean Terminus Tower's venerables. Good Night Sorrow, good job. Tai Shu Yen said. Latest chapter D8, superhearing Wu Lingfei's words, everyone relaxed. If Wu Lingfei could resist Skyscraping Saint, then the overall situation would be settled. This was how a master could hold up an era. After listening to the higher-ups of Tianji Tower talk for a while, Night Sorrow left the big tent and made a small tent for himself. As soon as Night Sorrow finished setting up the tent, Wu Lingfei came. Aunt Fei, how is it? Asked Night Sorrow. Except for the fact that it doesn't recognize me as its master, Aunt Fei can use most of the functions of the Spacetime Pagoda. It can be used for both offense and defense, said Wu Lingfei with a smile. Then I'm confident. Night Sorrow nodded. Make a pot of tea. Wu Lingfei smiled at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and made a pot of tea. Aunt Fei, since you're confident, should we ask the others to retreat to a certain distance so that the other side won't attack the venerables when he's at his peak? Asked Night Sorrow. There's no need for that. This is a battlefield for the venerables because the venerables and Void Inquiry stage experts can't withstand the attacks of the laws of the Realm C. Since saints can control the power of laws to protect themselves, they won't be afraid of such attacks. So this time the battlefield isn't here. Wu Lingfei said. In other words, the battlefield between Aunt Fei and that guy will be in the sky above the Realm Sea? Asked Night Sorrow. Yes. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow understood that the people here didn't need to retreat. The next few days were quiet. Then, someone came to report that the people of the Qingtian region had appeared in the East Smoke City. However, they didn't engage in battle. They directly flew towards Linhai City on a flying ship. He's wise. It's meaningless to attack the East Smoke City. If he can't win, the consequences will be our crazy revenge. It's better to use our battle to decide the outcome, said Wu Lingfei. Junior sister Wu will have to trouble you this time. If you feel pressured, just call us. Junior sister Tai Shu and I will take action. The three of us can definitely kill him. Lin Yuandao looked at Wu Lingfei and said, Yes, senior sister Wu. Even if we have to surround and kill him, we won't lose face. It's very embarrassing for a veteran saint to challenge you. Tai Shu Yen said, All right. Chaos is coming. Whether or not our Qinji Tower and Eastern Xian region can rise will depend on this battle. Wu Lingfei looked at the sky above the realm sea in the distance. As long as senior martial sister Wu doesn't lose, coupled with the fact that Qingtian region and Taiyue region were severely injured, no one will be able to shake the position of our celestial terminus tower in the future. The Eastern Xian region will also stand at the peak of the 9 regions, Tai Shu Yen said. Yes. So this battle is very crucial. We can only win. Defeat is not an option. Lin Yuandao said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that this battle was very important. It would almost determine the future of the 9 regions. Time passed in an oppressive atmosphere. At noon, a flying ship appeared and stopped above the realm sea. Then a white-haired old man appeared. Chapter 503. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with wonderful novels to read. I'm here. Wu Lingfei's body flashed and appeared above the realm sea, confronting the old man. Love go little say, Webku, it seems that you've made great progress recently. You're a golden phoenix saint now, but you should know that there's a gap between a new saint and a veteran, Saint Futian said. So what? Wu Lingfei sneered. If you know what's good for you and hand over the Shintian Tower, I'll leave, Saint Futian said. Ah, I find it funny. I've killed many venerables of the Qingtian domain, and now you want to take the Shintian Tower and leave? Wu Lingfei said. Then I won't beat around the bush. I'm Jiyu Haitian and I'm here as a member of the Jiyu family. I only want to take away the Shintian Tower. If you can't, you know the consequences, Jiyu Haitian said. Then I'm sorry. The Shintian Tower is just a decoration in your hands. You can't even control it, so how can you take it back? I have a space-time pagoda here. It's quite powerful. You can try it. Wu Lingfei waved her arm, and the translucent space-time pagoda turned into a 2-story pagoda that rotated behind her. The Shintian Tower. You can control the Shintian Tower? Jiyu Haitian's expression changed and his voice trembled. He had tried countless times to make the Shintian Tower recognize him as its master, but he couldn't do it. Now that Wu Lingfei could control it freely, her combat strength had increased a lot. I don't know what Shintian Tower you're talking about. This is the space-time pagoda. Wu Lingfei sneered. Bitch. Then you can go die. The enraged Jiyu Haitian roared, then took out a black saber and slashed towards Wu Lingfei. Shameless boasting. Wu Lingfei snorted and made a circle with her left hand. The space-time pagoda spun and blocked the path of Jiyu Haitian's saber. Then she waved her right hand, and a translucent sword appeared and slashed at Jiyu Haitian. Jiyu and Hai Tian have the fire attribute, which is an ordinary attribute, while junior martial sister Wu has the high-grade attribute. Junior martial sister Wu won't have a hard time. Lin Yuandao said. As Lin Yuandao spoke, the battle in the sky above the realm sea intensified. Jiyu Haitian was surrounded by a world of fire, while in front of him was a world of greenery. There was also a white light in the middle, which was the cold power of ice. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.aichuxs.com. In the area where Jiyu and Wu Lingfei were fighting, fiery red blade lights swished in the air one after another, but they were all blocked by the space and time towers that surrounded Wu Lingfei. The space-time pagoda was surrounded by the power of space. When the fiery red saber arrived in front of the tower, it was as if it had entered an area of spatial disorder. It did not attack the tower at all. On Wu Lingfei's side, her life energy formed into chains and lashed towards Jiyu Haitian. However, Jiyu Haitian's speed was faster than hers. His body movement was as fast as fire, which made Wu Lingfei's attacks miss their target. Apart from the life chains, Wu Lingfei's sword lights and mystic jade hands also troubled Jiyu Haitian. Every time Wu Lingfei attacked, the sea of fire would surge and reduce the fire energy, which was a blow to Jiyu Haitian's energy. Jiyu Haitian could only blame himself for being unlucky. Wu Lingfei had two types of elemental powers. The life elemental power was a high-level elemental power, which could suppress ordinary fire elemental powers, while the ice elemental power could suppress fire elemental powers. The two kept attacking each other, but Wu Lingfei did not retreat an inch. Jiyu Haitian's attacks were more violent, but he could not take even half a step forward. Bring back the Shintian Pagoda? Do you think you're qualified? Wu Lingfei countered after blocking Jiyu Haitian's violent attacks. Jiyu Haitian did not say anything, and his attacks became even more violent. The sea of fire elements surged above the realm's sea and even surrounded Wu Lingfei's world of green and white. However, Wu Lingfei was like a reef in a raging sea, and her defense was very stable. Master K, is Aunt Fei in any danger? Night Sorrow was a bit worried. Her defense is very stable. Jiyu Haitian is the one who is consuming the most energy. If he continues to attack like this, it will be hard to say who will have the upper hand in the end, Lin Yuandao said. In half an hour, if Jiyu Haitian can't force Senior Marshal Sister Wu to retreat, he will have to retreat, Tai Shu Yen said. Wu Lingfei and Jiyu Haitian continued to attack each other, but because of her high-level element, the green energy around Wu Lingfei was very condensed and would not be scattered or consumed. After fighting for an hour, Jiyu Haitian waved his sleeve and retreated a bit. Golden Phoenix, so what if you can stop me by yourself? Can the people behind you stop me? If you don't hand over the Shintian Pagoda, I can't kill you, but I can kill them. Eastern Shen region will become a dead zone, and all branches of Tianji Tower will be uprooted, Jiyu Haitian threatened when he saw that he couldn't do anything to Wu Lingfei. Only OS version, its FP he $hashtag are all hashtag pirated WI. Threaten? You can do it now. I believe you can kill some of them, but I won't even take a second look at them. I'll go straight to the headquarters of your Jiyu family. After that, I'll go to the branch. Wu Lingfei snorted coldly. You're not qualified to threaten us? Come and kill some of them. I'm not a saint, but I still have some means. Otherwise, the title of K-Master of Tianji Tower will be in vain. When the time comes, whether you can leave or not is still unknown, Lin Yuandao said. After speaking, Lin Yuandao and Tai Shu Yen both rose into the sky with weapons in their hands. If Jiyu Haitian really avoided Wu Lingfei and attacked the others, the Heaven's Terminus Tower and Eastern Shen Domain's Venerables would risk their lives to hurt Jiyu Haitian. By then, Jiyu Haitian would no longer be a match for Wu Lingfei. You really want to fight to the death? Jiyu Haitian narrowed his eyes and glanced at Wu Lingfei, then looked at Lin Yuandao and asked. It doesn't matter. Tianji Tower has been developing for many years. It doesn't matter if some of the branches don't exist. With the Dark Tower, it is enough to survive and rise. However, your Jiyu family is not far from destruction. I accept your declaration of war, Lin Yuandao said. Jiyu Haitian, withdraw your hand. Since you're a saint, don't participate in these battles. Otherwise you can't bear the consequences, Wu Lingfei said coldly. Golden Phoenix, you're the same. If you dare to act recklessly, I will fight you to the end regardless of the consequences. Jiyu Haitian's body flashed and returned to the airship, which then left the sky above the realm's sea. The airship was made of a special material, a kind of raw stone. This raw stone had no other use but to isolate attacks, so the people inside the airship would not be attacked by the laws of the realm's sea. After Jiyu Haitian left, Wu Lingfei's body flashed and landed in front of Night Sorrow and the others. The gap is too big. If Night Sorrow didn't lend the pagoda to me, I wouldn't be able to hold on. At most, I would have to fight to the death and seriously injure him, Wu Lingfei said with a serious face because Jiyu Haitian was really strong. Chapter 504. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? It provides you with wonderful novels to read. What treasure? Wu Lingfei asked with some surprise. This is a secret that only the previous K-Lord knows. Only the K-Lord can control it, but I can't do it now, so only K-Lord Wu can do it, Lin Yuandao said. What secret? Is it suitable for us to know? Tai Shu Yen asked. Since you took it out, it's not a secret. The Polar Moon Wheel is a saint-level protective magic treasure. Lin Yuandao stretched out his hand and took out a 3-inch tall silver moon wheel. He then handed it to Wu Lingfei. Senior brother Lin, you can't do that. Since only the K-Lord can control it, you should control it. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Junior sister Wu, you were a venerable a few days ago, so the Polar Moon Wheel was useless. When you came here again, you were already a saint and could control the Polar Moon Wheel. But at that time, junior sister Wu already had the pagoda of time and space to protect you, so I didn't mention it. Refining it before the battle was too hasty, and the effect wouldn't be good, Lin Yuandao said. He explained why he didn't take out the polar moon wheel a few days ago. But it's still not suitable. This is the K-Lord's protective magic treasure. Wu Lingfei still shook her head and refused. K-Lord. Junior sister Wu, when you didn't leave the Qingtian domain, it's hard to say who the K-Lord was. Junior sister Wu, don't be stubborn. You want to maintain the highest combat power. Do you plan to keep using Night Sorrow's pagoda of time and space? Besides, this polar moon wheel is also a yin spirit treasure. It's not suitable for me. Lin Yuandao tossed the extreme moon disk to Wu Lingfei without hesitation. Wu Lingfei couldn't let the treasure fall to the ground, so she could only catch it in her hand. Junior sister can only thank senior brother. Wu Lingfei cupped her hands to Lin Yuandao. Congratulations, senior sister Wu. Taishu Yen cupped her hands to congratulate Wu Lingfei. Junior sister Taishu, hurry up and enter the Saint Domain. Although our Qinji Tower doesn't have a top-level treasure like the polar moon wheel, we still have others, Lin Yuandao said with a smile. Many thanks, senior apprentice brother Lin. Taishu Yen cupped his hands towards Lin Yuandao. All these years you didn't return to the headquarters, and the headquarters didn't provide you with any help. I feel very guilty. There are some regulations in Qinji Tower that make people feel helpless. Lin Yuandao's words were full of apology. The others were also silent. Wu Lingfei and Taishu Yan's situation was unprecedented in Qinji Tower. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, they did not return to the headquarters. Because of the regulations, the headquarters did not give them any financial support. Then Wu Lingfei returned the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda to Night Sorrow. Without waiting for Night Sorrow and Shao Kong to communicate, Shao Kong directly entered Night Sorrow's Dantian. This is the true owner of the numinous treasure, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She could use the Spacetime Pagoda for attack and defense. She couldn't use its auxiliary functions because she couldn't integrate it into her body. Junior sister Wu, this polar moon wheel is both offensive and defensive. Moreover, it's mainly used for killing. After refining it, you definitely won't be disappointed, Lin Yuandao said. Then let's talk about the next arrangements. Latrin Swan also breathed a sigh of relief. When Lin Yuandao entrusted Night Sorrow and Ling Long to him, he was really worried. At present, we will focus on developing the Eastern Xian region base. Well, junior sister Wu, you should stabilize your cultivation and refine the polar moon wheel for the time being. In addition, junior apprentice sister Taishu, your North Sea region is an iron plate. Shift some of your energy to this side. Elderly, you will oversee this side. Love Gong Little Sate Network, Chulin Yuandao said. Taishu Yen and Elderly both nodded. Junior sister Wu, send some people from the Eastern Xian region's City Lord's mansion. Tianji Tower's chief enforcer Li will lead some people to cooperate and take control of the important cities in the Taiyue region. If we don't take action, the Taiyue region will be taken over by the Qingtian region, Lin Yuandao said. All right. Leihua Kuan-Nan, you two will be fully responsible for this matter. If there's anything you can't solve, you know where to find this seat. In addition, our Eastern Xian region can't swallow such a big piece of meat. Junior apprentice sister Taishu, just do as you see fit, Wu Lingfei said to Taishu Yen after speaking to Leihua and Kuan-Nan. Tianji Tower's motto was not to fight for hegemony or territory. Therefore, the Taiyue region was a burden to Tianji Tower. However, it was of great significance to other regions. Only with territory would there be people, and only with people could one's power grow. At present, the Eastern Xian region's top cultivators weren't bad, but there were very few middle-level cultivators. It was somewhat unrealistic to want to swallow the Taiyue region. Therefore, Wu Lingfei and Taishu Yen communicated with one another. All right. Don't worry, senior apprentice sister Wu. Junior apprentice sister will control this well. Taishu Yen nodded and made a promise. In other words, the North Sea region would be controlled to a certain extent. Then the camp here was evacuated. There was no need to keep it. The Realm Sea was a defensive line, but the cities in the Taiyue region near the Eastern Xian region were all under the control of the Eastern Xian region. It was impossible for the Qingtian region to push into the Realm Sea. As for the Taiyue region's counterattack, they didn't have the ability to do so. In the previous battle, Li Fengyu had committed suicide. The Taiyue region had lost half of its venerables, and those who hadn't died in battle had all gone into seclusion. How would they dare to fight against the Eastern Xian region, which was in the limelight? That would be no different from courting death. Look at section Q of the J section chapter Unspecified Currency. However, the Taiyue region was still very stable. Before the Venerables went into seclusion, they would also instruct level 5 protectors and enforcers to maintain order. After all, no matter who was in charge of the Taiyue region, it was still their hometown. Knight Sorrow returned to the mansion. He originally thought that Ling Long would leave with the higher-ups of Tianji Tower, but he didn't expect her to follow him. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything about this situation. The mansion didn't lack a guest room for her. The higher-ups of Tianji Tower didn't leave the eastern Xian region either. They were currently in troubled times, and they had to study the construction of the Tianji Tower base. After settling down, Knight Sorrow began to cultivate diligently. With the Spacetime Pagoda, Knight Sorrow's cultivation could save a lot of resources and go much smoother. There was a difference between external resources and the energy of heaven and earth that the Spacetime Pagoda absorbed. Elixirs, spirit stones, and crystals were all energy mediums, but the Spacetime Pagoda absorbed them naturally, making cultivation much smoother. In addition, Knight Sorrow felt that it wouldn't be long before his deity Ocean's soul power would liquefy. As for his cultivation realm, Knight Sorrow had already begun to try to improve it. He first cultivated the unity of man and spear. After he succeeded, it would be much easier to advance to the unity of man and heaven. As for the matters of Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion, Knight Sorrow didn't worry about them, nor did he ask about them. He just cultivated in peace. When he had nothing to do, Knight Sorrow would communicate with the members of Tianji Tower's team and the brothers of the Bloodstrike Guard. However, Ling Long didn't show up much. She was probably cultivating as well. The members of Tianji Tower's team and the Bloodstrike Guard's team were improving very quickly. There were only 3 members of the Bloodstrike Guard who hadn't reached the 5th stage, and the other was the Qin Zhen. Worried that they would feel pressured, Knight Sorrow even found a few of them to chat. However, Knight Sorrow was overthinking things. The 4 of them had excellent mental states and were confident in themselves. They just felt that they hadn't polished their true chi enough, so they needed to continue to stabilize it. Knight Sorrow thought about it and understood. The Bloodstrike Guard's members were selected elites. Their aptitudes were certain, and their mental states were also strengthened. A little setback was nothing to them. Chapter 505. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. His true chi, myriad Tao treasure tome, soul power, and innate bloodline power could not break through within a short period of time. Therefore, Knight Sorrow decided to work hard on his cultivation base to prepare for his advancement to the Venerable Realm. Soul power was the foundation of mastering the oneness of heaven and man. It was also the key to entering the Venerable Realm. Knight Sorrow could now achieve the state of being one with his spear. Both the attack power and accuracy of his spear technique were improving. If it was in the past, Knight Sorrow would probably return to the Medicine Valley to cultivate. After all, Pill Cauldron Cliff was a holy place for cultivation. However, Knight Sorrow did not need to do so now. The 8-Dragon Cauldron had already been upgraded. It was no longer a spiritual weapon but a sacred weapon. However, its grade was not as high as the Time Pagoda. The speed at which it absorbed the energy of heaven and earth was also faster than the pagoda. In the past, Knight Sorrow could cultivate quickly in Pill Cauldron Cliff because his grade was low and the amount of energy he needed was less. As for Knight Sorrow, he was now at the 5th level of the Void Inquiry stage. The amount of energy he needed to cultivate at this level was countless times higher than before. While Knight Sorrow was cultivating steadily, the world outside was changing rapidly. First of all, there was the change in Taiyu Domain. Taiyu Domain had already been jointly ruled by the Eastern Profound region and the Northern Sea region. The 2 regions used a conciliatory policy and did not attack the local cultivators. Everyone knew that everyone had the determination and perseverance in their hearts. In order to avoid being ostracized, the Eastern Profound region and the Northern Sea region issued an announcement. After announcing the cause of the incident, it also stated that this was the second time that Taiyu Domain had launched a domain war against the Eastern Profound region. After the announcement was made, no one came out to refute it. This meant that it was true that Taiyu Domain had attacked the Eastern Profound region twice. This fact caused a storm among the cultivators of Taiyu Domain. It also subconsciously changed their attitude towards the Eastern Profound region and the Northern Sea region. Cultivators were very straightforward. Taiyu Domain had followed Qing Tian region to attack the Eastern Profound region. It was normal for the latter to retaliate as they were not invaders at all. Since Taiyu domain attacked them, they had to bear the consequences. This was something that everyone understood. After that, the Eastern Xian region and the Northern Sea domain announced their policies towards the Taiyue domain. They would not change the current power structure of the sects and clans in the Taiyue domain, nor would they take away the resources of the Taiyue domain. The resources of the Taiyue domain would be used to nurture the cultivators of the Taiyue domain. The only requirement was that the Taiyue domain had to stand on the same side as the Eastern Profound region and the Northern Sea domain. At the same time, the Eastern Profound region and the Northern Sea domain would also protect the stability of the Taiyue domain. They would not allow forces from other domains to invade the Taiyue domain. As soon as such a policy was announced, all the major sects and clans in the Taiyue domain expressed their allegiance. The latest 2 chapters, Section K / after all, without a leader, Taiyue domain would definitely be attacked. Even if the Eastern Xian region and the Northern Sea domain didn't come, other domains would come. The Eastern Xian region and the Northern Sea domain's combined strength had greatly increased. Taiyue domain didn't have the ability to resist. Moreover, the Eastern Xian region and the Northern Sea domain's attitude was still very friendly. Love gone little say. Other than that, the Tianjin Tower also released some announcements that were beneficial to the development of the Taiyue domain. If the Taiyue domain could cooperate with the Eastern Xian region and the Northern Sea domain and prevent any disputes, the rewards of the missions issued by the Tianjin Tower in the Taiyue domain would be increased by 30% in the next few years. The 3 major forces worked together to completely subdue the various forces in the Taiyue domain. Night Sorrow didn't know about any of this. All he did was cultivate diligently. At night he cultivated his foundation. During the day he spent most of his time cultivating his spear techniques. Night Sorrow, you don't have to work so hard, Sikong Chuyu said as she walked over. Beside her was Yang Lei, who had just sparred with Yi Shiwen. Yang Lei wasn't a match for Sikong Chuyu at the moment. Sikong Chuyu's sky blue water attribute power had strengthened her body more and more. She wasn't far from officially forming the sky blue constitution. It's not hard at all. Night Sorrow smiled at the 2 women. Night Sorrow had not seen Wu Lingfei during this period of time. He planned to give the ice silkworm soft garment to Yang Lei. However, he needed Wu Lingfei's help to make it recognize him as its master. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu had reached the void inquiry stage for quite some time. However, they still couldn't make the ice silkworm soft garment recognize him as its master. While the 3 of them were chatting, Ho Jian and the others came over. Leader, we went out for a walk just now and discovered a lot of news. Nan Liu said excitedly. Why are you running around for no reason? Why aren't you working hard on your cultivation? Night Sorrow glanced at Nan Liu and said. I've been working hard on this. Today I'm going out to get some fresh air. Nan Liu said in a low voice. Now, be it the Qinji Tower team or the blood-robed guards, all of them had absolute faith in Night Sorrow. None of them had any objections. It's only right for me to get some fresh air. What news did you guys hear? Night Sorrow took the teapot and asked after pouring tea for everyone. Ho Jian and the others told him about the current situation outside. Not bad. The strategy is very good. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to control the situation if there's a backlash. Night Sorrow nodded and said, None of us are brainless people, all right? Nan Liu muttered. Qin Jie and Qin Zhen's cultivation bases are slightly lower. You guys guide them well. Also, what about today? I'll also tell you guys a little trick. Remember to keep it a secret. Night Sorrow ignored Nan Liu's muttering and told them about how carving and pill refinement could help them cultivate their soul power. Thank you, leader. Ho Jian and the others bowed because this secret technique was very important. You guys can try to cultivate it. It's not like you can't teach it to others. If the person beside you has a good temperament, then there won't be a problem, Night Sorrow said. Then Night Sorrow went to the blood-robed guards' cultivation area and told them about this matter, allowing the rank 5 members to start cultivating. After instructing Night Sorrow, he returned to the main pavilion and chatted with Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei. I haven't told you yet. A few days ago, Grand Elder Hua and the Great Elder came and brought some disciples of the Medicine Valley to Taiyue Domain. The City Lord's mansion gave us a few cities in Taiyue Domain, Yang Lei said. That's a good thing. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Also, the Great Elder mentioned that you should return to the Medicine Valley again, Yang Lei said. If there's nothing else, let's go back and take a walk. I miss 6th Senior Sister and the others, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. What are we waiting for? Let's go. Yang Lei said excitedly. Night Sorrow and the others could leave whenever they wanted. It was very convenient with the transportation array. After instructing them, Night Sorrow led the two girls to the transportation array and set off for the Medicine Valley. At the same time, in Bailing City, north of the Qingtian region, a meeting was taking place in the Xikong family's mansion, which was even more luxurious than the city lord's mansion. An old man with white hair and beard sat in the main seat. He looked dignified without being angry. Now tell me who suggested the marriage between Chuyu and Jiyu's family? The old man asked. The dozens of people in the hall didn't say anything. Can't you hear me? The old man roared and smashed the chair beside him. The hall was terrifyingly quiet. No one dared to speak. The family lord has been in seclusion and doesn't care about the family's affairs. Before I went into seclusion, I said that Tianding will be in charge of the Xikong family for the time being. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to cause trouble? Do you think I won't know if you don't tell me? The old man waved his sleeve and slapped several people in the hall. Granduncle, please calm down. A middle-aged man sitting on the left stood up. Chapter 506. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Tianding, don't tell me you have nothing to do with this? What did I tell you? It's because you have the ability to control the family that I let you manage the family's affairs. Don't tell me that you don't have the ability to control the situation. Can't your feather guards take care of them? The white-haired old man glared at Xikong Tianding. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.aichuxs.com, yes. But that's not the best solution. If we rely on force to sort out the family, it will be accompanied by a storm of blood. The Xikong family strength will be damaged and the losses will outweigh the gains. Tianding can wait until Granduncle comes out of seclusion, said Xikong Tianding. The old man thought for a moment and nodded. What you did was right. You were able to restrain your inner emotions and put the interests of the family first. The patriarch and I did not misjudge you. Tianding will do his best. Xikong Tianding cupped his hands and returned to his seat. Are you blind? He didn't know what Jiyu family was like, but what happened to Taiwa territory? From now on, Tianjing and Tianhua are not allowed to take even half a step into the assembly hall and are not allowed to participate in any of the family's affairs. You two elders go and hand in your duties. The family will arrange for you to retire. The old man instructed again and directly abolished the 4 people who had tried to seize power. Then, someone chased the 4 of them out of the hall. The old man's name was Xikong Luyun. He wasn't the family head, but he was the soul of the Xikong family. He could appoint and dismiss the family head. Tianyu, make a trip to the eastern Shen region. When you see Chuyu, bring her back. Tell her that the clan will no longer force her, Xikong Luyun said to a female elder of the Xikong clan. Latest 3+ chapter Ape Granduncle, it's hard to say if we can call Chuyu back. According to the news that we received, she has privately pledged to marry someone else. Xikong Tianyu hesitated for a moment before saying, No. I can choose not to force her and no one can force her. However, her husband must pass my eyes, Xikong Luyun said. Very well, the heavenly mandate will do it now. Xikong Tianyu said. She knew Xikong Chuyu. Her niece was a treasure in Xikong Luyun's eyes. Xikong Luyun stood up and said, The world is going to change. The birth of a saint is a big deal. Alright, I'm going to go into seclusion. Tianding, you take care of the family's affairs. Xikong Tianding nodded. It wasn't his first time managing a clan. It was just that this time someone was trying to seize power and he didn't want to start a fight. Night Sorrow and the other 2 returned to Danding City. Standing in front of the Golden Flame Palace, Night Sorrow pondered whether or not he should greet Yu Yangyu. He had not seen Yu Yangyu for a long time. While Night Sorrow was thinking, the door to the Golden Flame Palace opened and Yu Yangyu walked out. Disciples greet Master. Night Sorrow and the other 2 bowed to Yu Yangyu. Good, very good. Get up quickly. Yu Yangyu reached out and helped Night Sorrow up. Your cultivation has far surpassed the other second-generation disciples. Even among the elders, there are only a few who have higher cultivation than you. Very good. Yu Yangyu said as he sized up Night Sorrow. Master, can you leave? Let's find a place and I'll treat you to a drink. Love go little say, Chu Night Sorrow said. Of course. I also wanted to come out for some fresh air and calm myself down before continuing my seclusion. How's the situation now? Yu Yangyu asked. He had been in seclusion all this time, so he didn't know the current situation. Yang Lei then told Yu Yangyu about the current situation in the 9 zones. The Medicine Valley has also fought our way out. This is a good situation, Yu Yangyu said excitedly. After entering the tavern, Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine and poured them. The Eastern Shen domain is in a good situation. The Medicine Valley is also in a good situation. This is very good. I've missed a lot in order to improve my strength, Yu Yangyu said. Master, 13th junior brother has a bright future. The Eastern Shen Domain City Lord Mansion and Tianji Tower both value 13th junior brother very much. His personal bodyguards are all high-level venerables. They didn't follow us this time, Yang Lei said. It's safe now. The people of the Qingtian Domain can't enter the Eastern Shen Domain. As long as I'm in the Eastern Shen Domain, I'm safe. I don't need personal bodyguards, so Supervisor Lan didn't follow us, Night Sorrow said. After drinking, they returned to Pill Cauldron Mountain. The 4 of them saw a lot of people at the mountain gate, but they didn't know anyone. After the Medicine Valley took over the Golden Flame Sect's territory, they started recruiting disciples and had more disciples. Seeing Yu Yangyu's Dao pattern robe, all the disciples bowed to greet him. They're all people I don't know, Yang Lei said. You're no longer people of the same era. What level are you at? 5th stage. Isn't 9th brother still an elder? How can he get along with the disciples below him? Yu Yangyu said with a smile. Master, you've been in seclusion so you don't know. 13th junior brother was forcefully promoted to the position of Deputy Valley Master by the Supreme Elder, the Great Elder, the Elder Council and the Peak Masters, but he didn't take it seriously, Yang Lei said with a smile as she pulled Night Sorrow's arm. Ah, Master's disciples are all promising. Not bad, Yu Yangyu said happily. The group arrived at Pill Cauldron Hall. Yu Yangyu asked Gong Xian and Chu Ling Xiao about the Medicine Valley situation, then returned to Taishan Peak. When Yu Yangyu returned with Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, the people of Taishan Peak gathered together to drink and chat. Master, a few years ago when you asked me to bring 13th junior brother back to Bamboo Forest Peak, he was still a child. Now that I think about it, it feels unreal, Gong Xian said with a sigh as he gestured Night Sorrow's height with his hand. This is the change of times. It's good that you're all independent now. If you have time, come to Southern Sky City and visit Guan Ye's family. Yu Yangyu shook his head as he thought of his 12th disciple, Guan Yi. Hearing Yu Yangyu's words, the others nodded. Guan Ye's matter was a pain for Yu Yangyu and his disciples. Night Sorrow didn't feel as much because he hadn't seen Guan Yi. Master, we'll go there later, Yang Lei said. Alright, Night Sorrow, you should also go back to your hometown, Yu Yangyu said. 13. Your hometown is currently under construction. The focus of the construction is Gunan Town and Jiyuan Town. Jiyuan City is to be built. Now Jiyuan Town is just a scenic town in the periphery, Gong Xian said. Thank you, senior brother, Night Sorrow said. That's what I should do. As long as a disciple makes an outstanding contribution to Medicine Valley, their hometown will definitely take care of them. 13th junior brother, you don't have to think too much, Yu Yangyu said. I understand, Night Sorrow nodded. Alright, you guys go later, Yu Yangyu nodded to Night Sorrow and the others. After drinking and greeting everyone, Night Sorrow and the others released their mounts and flew towards Southern Sky City. Their mounts were extremely fast now. In half a day, they arrived at Southern Sky City's Qingnan Town, which was also Guan Ye's hometown. Chapter 507. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. Night Sorrow and the other 2 looked at each other and walked toward the canyon where Guan Ye's grave was. Before they even entered the canyon, Night Sorrow and the other 2 sensed something strange. What was this sinister aura? It was thick with death energy. Something's not right. You 2 be careful, Night Sorrow said. I want to see what's going on. If anyone dares to mess around in 12th's grave, I'll kill them all. Yang Lei was a little angry. Among Yang Lei's 4 junior brothers, the 10th, Tao Yuan, was the oldest. Mo Qin, Guan Yi, and Yi Shang were the youngest. Apart from her current relationship with Yi Shang, the other 2 were her blood brothers. If anyone dared to blaspheme Guan Yi, then the matter would be very serious. Don't be rash. I feel that something's wrong. I'm familiar with this death energy. Night Sorrow frowned. As they walked, Night Sorrow pondered. He didn't understand why this was happening, but he believed that his intuition was right. When they reached the end of the canyon, Night Sorrow and the other two discovered that the death energy was coming from Guan Ye's grave. What's going on? Yang Lei frowned. The body in the grave hasn't rotted. There's something wrong with this grave. Let me think. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and pondered. After organizing his thoughts, Night Sorrow opened his eyes. They were full of shock. The aura of the Dark Spirit Saint. It's the aura of the Dark Spirit Saint. Night Sorrow was shocked. What do you mean? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow, confused. The death energy here is the same as the aura of the Dark Spirit Saint I met in the death dimension, Night Sorrow said. Didn't you say that he reincarnated? What's going on? Yang Lei was a little anxious. After all, it was her junior brother, Guan Yi, who was in the tomb. I just checked and found that there is a hidden branch of an underground river under the tomb. Because of the cold air rushing up, 12th brother's body did not decompose. Now that there is death energy flowing in his body, it means that there will be a mutation, Night Sorrow said. There will definitely be changes. What does that mean? Sikong Chiyu asked. There are two possibilities. One is a zombie without intelligence, and the other is a spirit corpse with intelligence. But it's hard to say who it is. Maybe it's 12th brother or maybe it's the Dark Spirit Saint. Night Sorrow analyzed. Then what should we do? Yang Lei's mind was a little unstable. I don't know either. If it wasn't for the Dark Spirit Saint, I would have chosen to stop the situation now. However, the Dark Spirit Saint is a magnanimous person. He wouldn't do something so senseless, said Yishang. I didn't expect to see you here. Very good. This is fate. A voice appeared out of nowhere. Senior. Night Sorrow was surprised. He didn't know what was going on. You came just in time. My consciousness is still here so I can explain it to you. It's like this. This corpse has the death attribute, but it was not activated when he was alive. Also, his soul is very pure and hasn't completely dissipated. My energy can nourish his soul and revive him. The Dark Spirit Saint's voice sounded again. Junior understands, but who is this resurrected? Yishan asked the question in his heart. Don't worry. It's still him, but maybe he will retain a part of my memory. That will depend on luck. I originally planned to find a suitable unborn body to reincarnate, but when I came here and saw this corpse, I changed my mind. The Dark Spirit Saint's voice sounded again. Love, go little say, choose senior, didn't you lose the chance to reincarnate? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. So what? He can grow up smoothly. Isn't he living in this world for me? When we parted, I said that even if I reincarnate, I will still be me. Remember your promise and pass on my inheritance to him, the Dark Spirit Saint instructed. Senior, you can't do it? Night Sorrow asked. I can't do it. In 3 days, my soul will truly disperse and it will take some time for him to recover. Help me watch over him. All right, that's all I have to say. Then the Dark Spirit Saint's voice disappeared. Then Night Sorrow left the canyon with the two girls. Yishang took out a jar of wine, poured out a bowl, and drank it in one gulp. 13. Does the Dark Spirit Saint mean that 12th junior brother can be revived? Yang Lei was a little emotional. Yes. Night Sorrow nodded. At this moment, Yang Lei and Night Sorrow's feelings were completely different. Yang Lei cared about Guan Ye's revival because he was her junior brother. Night Sorrow and Guan Yi didn't have any feelings, but Night Sorrow knew that the Dark Spirit Saint was truly going to disappear. Everyone's feelings are different. Calm down. Sikong Chiyu was a bystander and knew that Yang Lei and Night Sorrow's feelings were different. Yang Lei looked at Yishang and instantly understood that there was conflict between the two of them. Night Sorrow drank a jar of wine and meditated at the entrance of the canyon. Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu looked around and released their flying mounts to be on guard. Chiyu, is Ninth Senior Sister being selfish? Yang Lei looked at Sikong Chiyu and asked. Carrot update XA new best, quicken up S. No, but Night Sorrow and Senior Guan have never met before, so their feelings for each other are blank. The Dark Soul Saint is a senior he respects, so it's a shock to him, Sikong Chiyu said. That's true. I didn't consider that. 12th junior brother is very important to Master, to us and to us, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow will understand. Let nature take its course, Sikong Chiyu said. The next 2 days were quiet. On the third day, Night Sorrow brought a jar of wine to the canyon and placed it in front of Guan Ye's grave. Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu followed behind Night Sorrow. They knew that Night Sorrow was saying goodbye to the Dark Soul Saint. I am gratified to know you. Even if I die, I will have no regrets. He will live in my place in this world. The Dark Soul Saint's voice sounded again. At the same time, his figure appeared above Guan Ye's grave. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He just nodded. Also, don't treat him as an evil walking corpse or zombie. I've already healed his body. Once his soul completely recovers, he'll be a living human. This may take some time, so I'll be leaving now. Don't worry about it. Some things are just the will of the heavens. The Dark Soul Saint's words carried a hint of relief that Night Sorrow could feel. Night Sorrow will complete Senior's task. Senior, have a safe journey. Night Sorrow bowed. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.